Tuscaloosa.
It's time for the Miller's Edge with four-time SEC champion and two-time national champion Christian Miller.
Once again with Christian Miller taking him down.
Here's college football playoff national champion Christian Miller on Tide 100.9 and 12:30 a.m. WTBC.
And welcome into this Talking Tuesday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Hope everybody's doing great. Chase, we got some better weather this time around. Still pretty cold outside, but sun's shining, and I don't know, hopefully it heats up here in a minute. Yesterday, man, that cold had me. You guys know I'm always outside, especially in the mornings, and man, kind of had me a little congested, and I don't know, but we're ready to roll, man. We're ready to rock and roll. We got a Talking Tuesday. I mean, we're going to be talking a lot, as you guys already know. If you've been here, I guess if you're new, we've got a lot of new listeners. Welcome to all our new listeners. Every Tuesday, we are joined by Clint Lamb, one of you guys' favorite of Cover Crimson. So we'll talk with Clint at the top of the hour, get his thoughts on everything going on. A lot of new moves going on in the transfer portal. A lot more positive news to talk about. If you're an Alabama fan, we'll do that here on the show, plus with Clint at the top of the hour and with you guys, 205-342-9904. Definitely want to try to get to the phone lines as much as possible. I promise. I'm working on it. I know you guys want to get in on the conversations, and with just Clint's schedule today, we should have plenty of time. So if you guys want to do that, we'll probably take some calls around 11:30 to 12-ish range, and then after we talk with Clint in the second hour, we'll open it back up. That way you guys don't have to sit on there and wait. But like I mentioned, Chase, we got some good news, man. I got a round of applause going because, listen, yesterday was one of those days. It was a tough reality day, right? We were coming off of a long weekend of, it seemed like it was bad news after bad news. You had one guy flipped, a big target that a lot of people were hoping that we could potentially land. He ended up also choosing the same school that it came and poached one of our guys, and it just wasn't going too great, it seemed like, for Alabama in the portal until, like I tried to tell you guys also, man, be patient, right? I expected Alabama to be really active this second part of this period. Now, again, the portal will close, I believe, at the end of this week, but it still is open in terms of you can't enter after that. But if you're in the portal, which is a bunch of guys in there, you still can make those decisions. So there's going to be a lot of moves. That's why I encourage everybody, right? Just be patient, kind of see how everything plays out. And sure enough, as soon as we got off air yesterday, there was a number of moves being made. So we're going to discuss all those moves. I had a chance to go watch some of these guys now, a couple of them. I mean, there's not as much tape to really go off of. So, and they're young, so we might have to go back and just base it off of what we saw from, their high school days and whatnot. But we'll discuss all the action. And not only, Chase, till we get some positive news regarding this roster via the transfer portal, which it seems like that's all the big news right now. But you got to remember, there's also a big thing called the NFL draft. And we got a number of guys that are making some big-time decisions on whether they're going to enter the NFL draft or they're going to come back to school and play yet another season. Well, we got some big news in that department, Chase. Bray Hubbard, man, big friend of the show here on the Miller's Edge. He made the decision and announced that he will be returning to Tuscaloosa. I definitely felt, because remember, both safeties, right? Keon Sabb and Bray Hubbard both had that decision. I knew at least one of them were going to come back, and I wouldn't be shocked if you get both of them. Still waiting on that decision from Keon Sabb, and also another big name that you probably really need to watch out for, Yonze Pierre, especially with the departure of Quay Russaw. Still waiting on some news and updates from that whole deal with Yonze, but we'll see. But for right now, you talk about having some returning production, Chase. I mean, Bray Hubbard was arguably one of the most productive players for this football team this past season. We'll go over his stats here in a minute, but the fact that he's returning to school, not only do you get back a lot of production on the defensive side of things, but you get a very experienced guy, a guy that's well-respected, a guy that's a leader in that locker room, and big time news for Alabama. So we're starting this Talking Tuesday off on the right foot, man. A lot of positive notes, and there's some other stuff we need to discuss. Some other names are popping up left and right, and that's why we talked about it last week. I think a lot of people, initially kind of jumped the gun, and I get it, right? When the portal opened, you saw the first wave of folks probably through the first 2 or 3 days, and immediately you start just kind of assuming, all right, that's the crop you got to work with. But like I told you guys, this is a long deal, and there's going to be guys popping up. Every day there's going to be new names. So, I mean, if you miss on one guy, that's why I said it's not the end of the world. Even when we talked about Hollywood Smothers, really good player who I think definitely could have attributed and helped, but it's not time to hit the panic button by any means. That's why I said we're going to wait really, I guess, make our conclusion on how this thing played out for Alabama when it's all said and done, which we're far from that. We still got plenty of time there. So what we'll do today is we're going to discuss everything that has happened in the last 24 hours or so, which has been a lot and a lot of positive, which is good. We'll do that. Plus, we got plenty of good conversations we'll dive into. Always happy to go where you guys want to go. If you guys see anything that comes up, any articles, clips, or anything like that, you guys know what to do. Tag us in those on X, formerly known as Twitter, right, at the Miller's Edge, and we'll definitely check that out. We'll react to it. We'll respond to it. Again, we got Clint Lamb with Cover Crimson at the top of the hour. Really curious about his thoughts and everything. He does a nice job extensively going through all these players, all the potential players. So we'll catch up with Clint, and we'll keep on rolling from there right here on the Miller's Edge. But first, we got to hit a timeout. Don't go anywhere. We're just getting started. When we come back, we'll dive into some of these big headlines from yesterday, and we'll roll from there. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. We are the home for Alabama sports. Quick timeout. We'll be right back.
The Tuscaloosa Thread News Update is brought to you by Tuscaloosa Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram.
What's up, guys? Who we got in here? We got a bunch of people in here early, man. We got 60 already. We just started. Welcome in, everybody. We got Phil. We got Jake. Happy Talking Tuesday. He says, I'm going to say this now. Jordan Seatin is not coming here. $2.5 million is where the bidding starts. Yeah, I saw that. We're going to talk about that. We'll discuss that. You talk about having a near guarantee of a guy that, plug and play, immediate upgrade at that position. I mean, that's about as close as it gets. But I hate to say this, but I agree with you, Jake. Especially after signing, which I'm pretty sure we signed now. If you notice now, the language is interesting, right? With Noah Rogers, it was worded as signed. Now, I don't know if it had that same language with tackle Ty Haywood out of Michigan, but assuming all that goes well, I guess we have to assume at this point, given we've had flips, but I just don't. Yeah, I mean, because listen, even a redshirt freshman like Ty Haywood, who was a 5-star out of high school, I mean, without a doubt, he's easily probably a 7-figure guy, easily. So you just you take him the day before, or I guess the same day, then this guy hits the portal. I just don't know. Not saying they couldn't do it, because again, I need to clarify. When I say Alabama's not really going to be in the running for a lot of these top guys, and that we don't necessarily have Texas money, I'm not saying, could we cough up $3 million if we really wanted to for that tackle? Yeah, we could. Don't get me wrong, we could. My whole thing was we're just not going to do that at the same, consistent level as a school like Texas or Oregon. We could make that work. The thing is with them, they could cough up 3 for him, then another 1 for a receiver, then another 2 for an edge guy, right? We're not operating like that. Like, those people operate like they have an endless budget. We just don't. I feel like some people are, like, hear my take and making it, or probably thinking like, oh, we just don't have money. No, I never said that. Like, we have solid, we have good resources, just there's different levels. But I would have loved to get a guy like Jordan Seatin. With him, it's not like a matter of, all right, well, he's good here. Yeah, there's still stuff to critique, but you're talking about a guy that's easily the best player in the portal, and without a doubt, probably going to be a top NFL draft pick when it's all said and done. So, to me, if you're talking, and then this is why my whole thing was like with Cam Coleman, like, it would be nice to have him, but that's not like a necessity. You know what I mean? Like, we need wide receiver depth. We don't really need a $3 million wide receiver. What we do need is we need a $3 million offensive tackle to protect. I would have been all good about that. Shoot, go in on the offensive tackle, but with the way things have kind of played out, us getting that tackle yesterday, I just don't see us grabbing Seatin either. But we're going to talk about it. Miller, bring on show, please. I don't know what that means, brother. But welcome in. Foundation with the endorsement deal, social media presence should make up the money we can't guarantee on the back end. Oh yeah, trust me, they're tying all that stuff in, man. That is one thing that definitely helps with our brand for sure. And welcome back into this Talking Tuesday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. All right, Chase, we got some good news to dive into, man. Let's start with our guy, Bray, man. Let's start with our guy, Bray. And listen, I would love to get him on the show to talk about that decision. I know he would not have a problem with it, but got a little bit of a quick update for you guys, because I know you guys always love us getting, current guys on the show. And I do too. It's always fun. However, Will Sanders, offensive lineman, he was down to hop on here. I reached out to him, and he wanted to jump on there. He said, "Yeah, that sounds awesome." But I went to get it cleared with folks over in the media side of things in the building, and they said not right now. So I guess with all the hectic stuff going on with the transfer portal, I don't think they want too much media availability with their players. I was thinking it would have been a great time to do it because it's the off season right now. I'm pretty sure they're just doing workouts and schoolwork, but I guess we'll keep you guys posted. Hopefully they let those guys become available pretty soon. Because like I said, man, I mean, it's always fun getting them on the show, and was really looking forward to talking with Will Sanders because there's a lot of talk about the offensive line, and I'm a big fan of his and the way he played when he got some opportunities, and definitely want to pick his brain on what he expects going into the next season. But we'll have to put that on hold for now. Probably the same thing with Bray now that he announced that he's coming back. But nonetheless, Bray Hubbard will be returning. He brings back a lot of experience, 21 career starts, a boatload of production, right? I mean, last season alone, Bray was literally all over the place. He had 2 sacks, 74 total tackles, 3 forced fumbles, 4 interceptions, 8 pass deflections. That's a big deal, Chase. I mean, you're talking about a guy that literally, man, I mean, not even just like big plays, but big plays when you needed them most, right? Like, think about all the big impact plays where things were on the line and Bray Hubbard steps up, right? You got that guy coming back. So to me, that's a huge get for this defense. I know we're so locked in on the transfer portal and new guys coming in. Well, don't forget about retaining the good players that you already have. So huge win for Alabama on that front. Really excited for him. We will await the news for Keon Sabb. Again, he has that decision to make as well. And if I'm not mistaken, the deadline is the 15th. So about 2 days from now. So we'll know a little bit more regarding him and also Yanze Pierre. I'm not sure if there's any others that are still awaiting their decision, Chase. I do know you got, Parker Brailsford and Caden Proctor and then, various other, those guys already made that decision. So we're having to wait and see on Yanze. But listen, Yanze to me, Chase, Bray was like, a big splash. Getting him back for this defense is huge. But I'll be honest with you, man. Yanze right now feels like, it's like a must get. You lose Quay Russaw, you lose James Smith. I mean, 2 guys that were going to be pillars up front in that front 7. Yanze, a guy that I think he ended up with 8.5 sacks, really came along nicely towards the end of the season, especially after the injury to Quay Russaw. I mean, he stepped up tremendously. And if you lose your premier pass rusher, that's a big loss. Now, there is news about the transfer from Missouri, Damon Wilson, potentially there, being some interest there. I'm hearing that guys is asking a hefty price, right? Which makes sense. I told you guys, it's like the NFL. I mean, pass rushers, it's a premium. Offensive line, it's going to be a premium. Quarterbacks, definitely a premium. So we'll have to see, and we'll monitor that. But I think it really all depends, right? I think if Yanze ends up declaring, they might have to turn up the heat for a guy like Damon Wilson. Listen, Alabama had there's a couple issues last year for Alabama that were glaring that need to be cleaned up going into the next season if they want to improve. That was the offensive line play, consistent play up front with the trenches, really on both sides. But I'm more so saying, the running game, the lack of the running game. Yes, there was issues with commitment to it, but still, even the execution was an issue. That's got to be cleaned up. And then on the defensive side of things, although we had a solid season statistically, we definitely performed well, forced some turnovers, good in the red zone. Towards the end of the year, there are some issues with, the position battle that put our defense in some bad spots. But typically, you're talking about a defense that stepped up and bowed up and held teams to field goals. So that was big. Rushing defense improved from the beginning of the year towards the end of the year. But in my opinion, one of the biggest issues for our defense, even though there weren't too many, little things we could critique, tackling was a little inconsistent at times, so forth. pass rush, right? And we talked about that all season long. The pass rush had to be improved, and it did start to improve. But a large piece of that was your boy Yonze Pierre. So need to get him back if he's not. If he declares, he declares. You just got to figure out from there. But behind him, Chase, we're really thin at that bandit spot. Excuse me, not bandit, but wolf. Because you're looking at Justin Hill, who's was a freshman last year, really talented player, a lot of potential. However, he's a physical player without a doubt. But to me, right now, he's a little bit more of that, edge setter. I'm sure he's definitely going to develop more as a pass rusher with more experience. But when you watch him, he's definitely more of a speed to power guy. He's not going to offer you what Yonze was offering you, right? And hopefully he can develop that as he gets more reps. But you need more, right? We are, even with Yonze, I'd argue we need more pass rush. I mean, even from the interior, right? We need guys up front that can get after the quarterback. We talked with Reggie Ragland, Alabama legend, yesterday. He said the same thing. And you just watch these other schools. I mean, you look at Miami and whoever, and their ability, Indiana, right? There's a reason these good teams, I mean, they have good pass rush, right? It goes hand in hand. You got to have the ability to get pressure on the quarterback. You see the difference, right? I mean, if you don't believe me, just go watch the Oklahoma game from the playoffs. Watch the difference it made when, we were playing a little bit that soft zone coverage, not bringing too much pressure, not getting pressure on the quarterback with the guys up front. We weren't affecting them much. To then change the game plan a little bit, start bringing some more heat. You get pass rush on drawing a blank on his name, but Oklahoma's quarterback, and everything changed right there, right? So pass rush is a huge deal, and Yonze was a big part of that. So we'll definitely be monitoring that and kind of seeing how it goes. Personally, I think if I was him, I think he should come back. I think he'd make even more money by coming back to school. And we all know, I mean, there's a big difference between being a top 10 pick, even to just being a 20 through 25 range in the first round. I mean, we're talking about like millions of dollars difference, Chase. And right now, Yonze, it's interesting. It kind of depends, team needs and whatnot, and where he could fall. I would probably say he's more of a day 2 guy right now, given that he had a really nice year, but I'm sure people want to see a little bit more, right? I mean, it was kind of a breakout year for him, and it really took off kind of midway through the season. If he comes back to school and he can solidify himself as like a top 15 type player, which, I mean, as a pass rusher, that's possible. You're talking about that could be millions of dollars of a difference. Plus, with NIL, I mean, just think about this, Chase. Before, like when I was in school, the choice between declaring for the NFL draft and coming back to school was a little bit different, because it's like, oh, I could go out for the draft and I could go ahead and get that payday and go on to the next level, or I could go back to school, a little bit more risky, right? I'm not getting paid because there wasn't NIL. Now, I mean, listen, I'm sure there's probably other stuff, but you get what I'm saying. Versus now, I mean, the decision, it's not so, it's just a little bit different, because now it's like, okay, if I stay in school, like I'm going to be being compensated. I'm probably going to be compensated pretty nicely. And in some regards, it might actually be even better. I mean, take Ty Simpson, for example. I mean, I know it sounds like he's, fighting the urge to come, not even the urge, but he's fighting the offers to come back to school. He wants to stay in the draft, but I'm thinking of it like this, Chase. I mean, $6.5 million. I mean, that's life-changing money if you manage it right, for sure. To me, that makes the decision a little bit more difficult, because let's talk about it. I mean, if Ty Simpson were to take that money and come back to school, $6.5 million, I mean, we'd have to pull up the slot values, but I would argue the signing bonus for like a late first-round pick, like towards the end of it, is probably around that range. Maybe I want to say it might be around like 8 or 10. I had to pull it up to be exact, but I want to say like the first and second pick, I mean, it goes from like the signing bonus probably being in like $30 million range, and then it drops back to probably 8 to 10 on the back end. And right now, I feel like Ty Simpson's probably, I know he's got a lot of, all first round grades according to his father in his camp, but I would argue, man, I mean, shoot, going back to school and developing one more year and getting that type of payday, and then being able to go, hit the lottery next year in the NFL draft. I mean, to me, Chase, I almost feel like you can't really, I mean, I guess you can pass it up, but I mean, what would you do if it was you, if you're Ty Simpson, which I feel like part of the reason he don't want to do that is because he don't want to play at another school which I get it. I respect the allegiance. I respect the pride, but brother, I don't think anybody would blame you. I mean, for $6.5 million, you go play 1 year at another school. I don't think anybody would really be mad at you. How could they? I mean, that's crazy, Chase. I mean, what would you do?
Honestly, I'd come back. I think
Mhm.
I paid my dues with Alabama, and I don't think anybody would have a problem if I came back to a different team. Plus, if I came back, I'm automatically a starter because they're already paying me at
Yeah.
such a high clip. It's not like if I get drafted in the first round, I have to sit for 2 to 3 years, learn the system, learn players' names, learn something new. Where it's like when I go to college, I've already been through it. I already know the coaching staff because I've talked to them about it. I figure out the culture, what's going on. So I think it'd be good for Ty. Work on your mechanics a little bit more. Now it'll be interesting if he does go to a school in the SEC. I think it adds a little bit more to the fire. But yeah, if I'm Ty, I go back. What's the harm in it? It doesn't hurt your grade for the NFL draft. You learn more, you expand your game, you work on things that you necessarily weren't really good at. I'd say escaping the pocket. I think that was one of his downfalls when he was at UA. I think also just his awareness as well. I think too many times he was indecisive, whether it was to a check
Mhm.
down or whether it was just to get an easy pass or just you have Ryan Williams streaking down the field and you don't see that. So I think if he can work on that, I think he could be a top contender. Also, too, you think about it, he could potentially have a Heisman season if he comes back with the chip on his shoulder, being like, okay, look, this would happen at UA. I can build off that. And with a team like Ohio State, Miami, Ole Miss, they're already locked and loaded with talent and the resources. So I think he's set up if he comes back. But it's his Ty. He has a great character and what he wants to do. But if I was him or if I was his agent, whoever he's listening to, come back,
Mhm.
do another year, learn more, do better, and also too look at what these teams are looking at, who they decide to pick with this year's draft. What could be potentially be for next year, and what you could help with teams that really need an example, like the Jets, because I don't know what they're going to do with their QB situation. But yeah, I think it's
True.
great for Ty.
Yeah, listen, there's a lot of things you have to waive your tie, right? I mean, you look at this quarterback class. I mean, you look at or you go off of what you're hearing. Really, I mean, that's pretty important, and it's not a guarantee, but if allegedly he's gotten all first round grades, which I know that might shock some people, but I mean, here's a list of some of the top quarterback prospects, and you can probably see why he's got, majority, if not all, first round grades. I mean, Dante Moore and Fernando Mendoza, two guys that just faced off against each other a few days ago. Those are your top two quarterbacks, right? Interchangeably. I mean, some people might view Fernando as number one, Dante Moore, others might be a little bit higher on his upside. So those are your top two guys, but behind them, Chase, is kind of muddied up, right? Because Ty Simpson, I think, is in a lot of regard probably the third quarterback on the board or on many NFL teams' boards. Then you look at it, I mean, there's some popular names, but a lot of guys that had a lot of high expectations going into this year and didn't necessarily play up to that expectation. Guy like Ty Simpson, he was underrated, and I thought about that. I felt like he wasn't getting much, respect going into the year, and he played above those expectations. And then we saw that dip towards the end of the year. But you see guys like, Garrett Nussmeier, John Mateer, Carson Beck, Cade Klubnik, right? Chambliss, who initially was going to try to come back to school, he got denied that. So I think he's now in this draft. And I would argue this list is definitely outdated because he's going to fly up these boards if he is, in fact, coming back to school, if he's is in fact denied, coming back to school, which was, I don't know if they can appeal that or whatever the case is. But listen, on that note, I understand why Ty would probably just say, let me go ahead and just leave. I mean, because if you have a first round grade, you have a first round grade. My thing is just if you have a $6.5 million offer and you feel like you could benefit from coming back to school and you could propel yourself to a more solidified first round spot, to me, that would be a no brainer. But the problem, Chase, is I feel like this quarterback class, although there is some, popular names, I don't think it's going to be as strong as the next year's quarterback class with the likes of, Arch Manning, Marcel Reed, and various other, players. I think it might look a little bit different. Julian Sand. So, it's a tough decision. But like I said, I feel like nowadays, I'm not saying you can't go wrong, but like Okay, you choose to go back to school. All right, well, you're getting paid a hefty lump sum amount of money to go back to school anyways. Like with us, it's like, okay, if you go back to school, you're not getting paid anything. You're just, praying you don't get injured and you're hoping you're raising your draft stock. I mean, say he did come back to school and it lowered a little bit, or you got a little banged up, whatever. I mean, at least he got $6.5 million. I mean, these are the signing bonuses, by the way, for first round draft picks out of last year's draft. So you guys have an idea. And this is why I was saying, I mean, coming back to school and trying to get even better draft status is actually a really smart idea. I know you risk injury or even maybe lowering your draft status, but I mean, just pay attention to these numbers and how quickly they change. Number one overall pick, Cam Ward last season, total contract's 48.8, but again, we're paying attention to the signing bonus because this is the biggest difference here, right? These are going to be guaranteed, and a lot of first-round picks are now becoming guaranteed. But again, we're going to pay attention to the signing bonus here. Cam Ward signing bonus, it's the number one pick, was 32.2. Travis Hunter, second overall pick, 30.6, right? So right off the bat, it already drops down by $1.6 million, right? Next one, you've got third pick was 29.6, fourth pick was 28.4. Now get this, Chase. You get down to number 10, it's already at $16 million, which I know you're like, man, that's a lot of money. Well, from pick 1 to pick 10, that's half the money right there. It starts to kind of the margin is a little bit slimmer as you go down, but still, because once you get in like the I guess I would say probably 18 or even probably 15 through 32 range, it's really only a difference of from about 11 or $12 million to about $7.3 million. But what I'm getting at is $6.5 million is not far off from the end of the first round. So I mean, you're almost getting paid, end of first round money to go play 1 year at Miami, and then you almost can go double up if you end up being a first round draft pick the next year. That's why I'm not gonna lie to you, Chase. I mean, if it is a situation where he's like, man, he's got that allegiance to Alabama and he don't want to play for anybody else, I respect it as somebody. I mean, I bleed crimson. I love being a former Alabama football player and everything that comes with that and being a part of the brotherhood. But I don't think anybody would blame him at all if you play one season elsewhere. That's just me. And then to circle this back to Yonze Pierre, I think Yonze right now, as impressive as he was, especially on the second half of the year, listen, pass rushers are they're premiums, right? Right now, I don't know where he would stack up, but I personally probably would see him as like a day 2 pick, probably a second rounder. So you see the biggest difference here. If Yonze comes back to school, I'm sure we'll take care of him. He's not going to get $6.5 million, but he'll get something for coming back. And if he can solidify himself as a top 20 pick, I mean, you're talking about that being a 5, 6, 7, maybe even $10 million difference. So that's what these guys are having to consider. I'm not sure if everybody realizes that big of a drop off from like the top few picks all the way down, but it's pretty steep. So some big decisions that must be made. We got to hit a timeout to stay on schedule. When we come back, we keep on rolling. Plus, we got to dive into all this transfer portal action that happened yesterday. We haven't even got there yet. We'll talk about that. Alabama's heating up, man. We talked about it. Were they cooking? They weren't cooking quite yet. I didn't think the burner was on yet, but somebody asked me on Twitter, are we cooking yet, Chase? I said, well, the burner is at least on. I feel like we got the pan on the stove. We greased the pan a little bit, and we're making strides, man. We're heating up, as I would like to say. We'll talk about why Alabama's heating up. We come back right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC.
I can't believe how.
Think Ty should go to the draft. Salaries for rookies are a little higher than last year as well. Well, rookie salaries, man, is a rookie. Everybody gets paid, and they've gone up a lot. They used to be like $495. Now I think they're up in like the 800 range. So what's crazy is that there's a number of college, athletes that are making more than the rookie minimum. So it's interesting, man. You got a lot of options to weigh, but I think that's why you see a lot of guys that stay in school. I mean, I think there's a reason you see more guys staying in school than before. I mean, you're getting compensated pretty nicely, and you pretty much can be a free agent every year in college football right now, which is one of the biggest issues that we have. Hey, Christian, is development an issue at Bama now, or is it more who they had on the roster? Probably a little bit of both. And we're just being honest. I mean, I feel like we haven't developed offensive linemen great over the past, 5 years, maybe, more or less. But I also feel like we might not have necessarily had the best personnel either to work with. And I'm not saying the star ratings again. You guys know us. We don't care about ratings like that. That's why I even told y'all with the transfer portal stuff. Stop judging these guys off their transfer portal ratings. I'm just telling you right now. I mean, I would say one of our top portal additions is less impressive than a number of guys that are rated below him. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even know how they come up with these rankings, to be honest with you. I don't even know who's doing that. But to answer your question, Joey, I say it time and time again. I think it's a little bit of both, right? I don't think we've landed the premier recruits, especially like on the offensive and defensive lines, as we once did. But then I also feel like, we haven't necessarily developed the best in certain aspects either. So I think it really comes down to a little bit of both, honestly. How many freshmen do you think will play in 26? I don't know, man. I'd have to look. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I don't even remember who all is in our freshman class. Number one, I don't really keep up recruiting like that. Let's be honest. We're not really huge on that. I normally just get somebody to jump on here and kind of give us more recruiting updates. But I think there's going to be a lot of young guys that have to play, just off the top of my head, to answer your question. You don't really have just think about it. Look at the depth chart right now. Matter of fact, I think Clint posted let me pull this up. I think Clint posted like the updated roster, not necessarily a depth chart. It's just a roster of kind of where things stand. Yep, here it is right here. This is what I'm saying. Clint, man, you talk about being extensive. Clint, man, I don't know how the dude works nonstop. But if you look at this, this is the offensive side of things. I mean, as you can see, we have one true senior on offense from what I'm seeing right now, according to Clint's updated roster, which is crazy to think about, right? And that's Danny Lewis. You got juniors in Austin Mack, D. Hill, Noah Riders, who we're going to talk about in a second, Ryan Williams, Josh Ford, another transfer. So literally, out of the 5 guys that are listed as juniors right here, 2 of those just transferred in. So before they transferred in, you're looking at, we had 3 juniors on the roster on the offensive side of things. So I know your question was about freshmen, but you're seeing what I'm getting at. I mean, whether it's freshmen or whatever, we're going to be a young team. And that's why I feel like we still need some more experience on the – listen, offensive line. Look at the offensive line. Sorry, this light's in the way. But, I mean, right now, your projected offensive line would be you're starting a true sophomore, I think a redshirt sophomore in Will Sanders, a redshirt freshman in Jackson Lloyd, a redshirt freshman in Haywood, and a potential redshirt freshman at center in Strayhorn. That's what you're working with. So the average offensive line right now is probably going to be a redshirt freshman. To me, that's a little concerning because, I mean, there's no way around it. You're going to have growing pains. And welcome back into this Talking Tuesday. This is the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by We're Open right there. Might have some news coming up soon, and I'll definitely keep you posted on that, which leads me, if anybody is interested in working with us, partnering with us, advertising with us, again, we're growing at a very, very fast rate, man. Now is a great time to jump on board and join the team. Reach out to us, themillersedge.com. You can go to the section where it says join the team, actually, and you can get that contact information, and you can be a part of the Miller's Edge, man. Listen, we do a lot of good stuff, man. Not only is there radio advertising opportunities, but also with our growing social media platforms that are growing by the day, man. It's a great opportunity to get a lot of exposure, not only on the local level, but on a national level, and it's only going to get bigger. So make sure you guys reach out to us if you are interested in joining us in terms of advertising, partnerships, and sponsorships. All right, That said, Chase, we're taking a look at this roster, but real quick before we go to Smitty, I do want to bring up the news from yesterday. Again, the last 24 hours, a lot of news regarding Alabama and a lot of positive news coming out of the transfer portal. Alabama landed not one, not two, or was it two? I'll be honest with you, Chase. I can't even keep up with it. Was it two? Was it three? I don't know. All I do know is we addressed some big needs yesterday out of the transfer portal. Ty Haywood, we'll start with him, offensive lineman out of Michigan. If the name sounds familiar, well, it's because he was originally committed to us coming out of high school. He ended up flipping to Michigan, where he spent last season there. He redshirted. I think he only had like 21 snaps throughout the whole year, so he did not really get any experience while he was in Ann Arbor. However, he's a very, very intriguing prospect. And the reason I say it like that is that, listen, he's a young player that I feel like has a high upside. He has a lot of upside to him, a lot of potential to him. In my opinion, it's an immediate upgrade in terms of athleticism. If you're talking about competing for that left tackle spot, which was held down by, Caden Proctor, really good player, but we know he struggled with speed, right? He struggled on those edges. This guy, to me, gives you a boost in that in the athletic side of things. That said, he's still young, and as talented as he is, he's only going to be as good as he's developed. And so that's going to be critical with this. He's got, great measurables, I think 6'5", 315, long arms, solid footwork. I went back and watched his high school tape again because there's no college tape to really go off of because I know he had 21 snaps. I don't even know what game it would have came in, so I went off the high school tape. But he feels like a raw prospect that's going to still need, a lot of fine-tuning in terms of mechanics and technique. But he's got a lot to work with. And I think if you can tap into that potential, this guy could end up being a very good football player here, right? Especially at a position of need on the offensive line. The biggest issue is he's young. He didn't really even play last season in college. So, it's going to be on our staff to develop him and get him ready to roll. I'll be honest with you. That's probably one of the areas that I do feel a little, concerned with in terms of, our offensive line development over the past 5 years, for that matter. Just hasn't really been probably what I think it should be. Can they do that this year? I hope so, because I think it will be critical, right? If not, I think we just looked at the depth chart. Right now, the offensive line, pretty much the projected starters are all redshirt freshmen or sophomore. I think redshirt sophomore was the oldest, and that was Will Sanders. So you're talking about a very young group. And with offensive line, it's all about communication, gelling, working together, being on the same page. And when you have a lot of youth, man, you can only expect that you're going to have growing pains. So I will say I love the pickup in terms of it's a huge area of need. We need offensive linemen. Regardless, we need bodies. But this guy has a lot of upside to him, a lot of potential. And I think if you develop him right, he can end up being a damn good football player. The thing is, though, it just goes back to what we've been saying. You're really having to rely on that development piece. I still would feel better if we had a true experienced offensive tackle coming in here. I just would. Really offensive lineman for any position, because we don't really have anybody. Michael Carroll and Will Sanders, but Michael Carroll has a little bit more. Would be the most experienced guy that we have coming back. And to me, for a group, you just see the difference. Go look at an offensive line like Indiana's that is older and more experienced. You know what I mean? Like, offensive line is one of those positions where experience definitely plays a big role. It just does. So I'm really happy about this pickup. I think it's a great pickup. But if I'm being completely honest with you, I don't think it solves every problem for the offensive line. I still think we're lacking a little bit there, and we need to probably get a little more experience and add a guy or two, which I'm sure we will, because we still got time, but I'll be paying attention to it. I know some of you guys asked about a guy like Jordan Seatin. That's the type of player I feel like Alabama would – if you're going to just, throw the house and you just give everything you got – I'm, kidding, by the way, but you get what I'm saying. Go all out for him. That's the type of guy I feel like you should, and I think you'd reap the benefits of that. I just don't see that happening. You know what I mean? We're talking about a guy that's already, I think the bidding's starting around 2.5. You're paying easily $3+ million for that player. Now, is it worth it? For us, I feel like we're kind of in terms of our offensive line. You need it. I'm all for spending $3 million on a player like that you need, and that is, a proven player that is going to lock up that left side at tackle. I'm all for it. I just don't know if it happens. But we'll see. You never know. Never say never. But I just know these other schools, man. I mean, for all we know, if Ty Simpson's getting offered $6.5 million, this guy might have been starting at 2.5. It might end up in that 5 range. It just might. I mean, that's how crazy this business is right now. But again, big pickup, getting Ty Haywood, bringing him back to Tuscaloosa, originally committed to us, ended up at Michigan for 1 year. Now he is back in Tuscaloosa, and hopefully we can develop him and get him on the right page, and he can help secure that left side where he will be probably competing for that left tackle spot. Other big pickup from yesterday, who I really like, I think it'll be a good fit, is my guy Noah Rogers, transfer out of North Carolina State. Started his career at Ohio State, was a 5-star prospect coming out of high school. But I like him, right? You talk about the receiver room. I want to say we only had like 5 receivers on scholarship right now, currently on the roster. So there's a big need for depth. This guy comes in, not only could be a great depth piece, but offers some really solid experience. Very consistent over the last couple of years at North Carolina State, where he averaged about 440 yards in reception yards in back-to-back seasons. A few touchdowns in the last couple of years. But he has great size and athleticism. He's 6'2", about 205. He lines up a lot of X. Seen him play some Z, but I've also seen him play the slot, so he can pretty much line up wherever. But I see him as being like, competing for that like 3rd wide receiver spot. When I said that, I'm not saying the slot. When I say wide receiver 3, I'm saying more like the pecking order, right? Because you look at it right now, you got Ryan Williams, you got Latsier Brooks. Those are going to be probably your 2. They're in the pecking order. They're 1 and 2, right? But then you've got guys like Sadarian Morgan, the true freshman, Derek Meadows, and Rico Scott. They're all competing, trying to get into that rotation. I think this guy immediately inserts himself there with the experience, but also his ability. I got to watch some of his tape, some of his highlights. I'm going to go back and watch some more game tape, but I like him. I think he can be a good player, and I think he can definitely be somebody that you just throw in there. They add experience, solid depth, and to me, you probably got him for a solid value, right? And these are the type of players that I think can fit well with what we're trying to build here at Alabama. So I love this addition. I think he'll be a good fit. I think he'll immediately come in here and offer. He'll be able to contribute, and I like it. He adds some much-needed experience too, because you talk about youth. Offensively, guys, we were just young. I mean, I want to say Ryan Williams was the oldest in the room. Let's pull this back up here. For the wide receiver room. Yeah, Ryan Williams was the oldest player in the wide receiver room before the addition of Noah Rogers. So that's why I like it even more. I mean, a very consistent guy that can contribute, but he also adds some experience to him. And he's got a nice background being a former 5-star player. So there's probably some more untapped potential there. Let's see if we can get that out of him. So I like that pickup a lot. I think that was one of our better ones so far in terms of just the value of it, everything he brings, and what we need. I really like that. And I expect Alabama to continue to be very active. Like I told you guys, be patient. We will be active. We have a lot of areas of need to address, and we're going to do that, right? It might not necessarily be the big names that you guys might be hoping for. But again, I've said this before and I'll say it again. Don't get caught up on these transfer portal ratings because they don't mean anything. They really don't. It might for a couple of these guys, they might live up to it. But a lot of them, man, I don't even know who comes up with these things. I really don't. I could not tell you how they even come up with it. So just don't worry about that part. Worry about the fit, the player, and how they fit in here and what we're trying to build here. That's the most important thing. That's why our job here is to analyze, watch tape, and actually give you a real idea of who these players are and what they bring, not just what a website says next to their name. So, Chase, let's do this. I know we got to combine breaks here, but let's try to squeeze Smitty in real quick. 205, 30. Well, actually, know what? Let's do this. Even if we combine breaks, we got to get out of here early. So let's do this. Smitty, if you want to wait, hang up. That way you don't have to sit on the phone, and call back when we finish with Clint. That way, because I know it was yesterday. Yeah, we were a little rushed with them. So I don't want to rush them again. I talked too long this segment, Smitty. I was going to squeeze you in, I promise. But do this. We're going to hit an early timeout because we got to combine these breaks. When we come back, we'll be joined by Clint Lamb of Cover Crimson. We'll continue talking about the latest with the transfer portal, what it all means for Alabama, what could be coming up next, because we are under this little dead period that is about to finish up here shortly. But we'll get Clint's thoughts, man, because I know he's been diving in all this stuff. Deep diving, I should say. And we'll do that when we come back right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Don't go anywhere, top of the hour break. We'll be right back.
Weather brought to you by
So essentially, he would play where Horton was, right? Similar targets, if you had to guess. Yeah, I would say this. So you got, look, X, Z, and then you got your slot receiver. The letters and stuff changes sometimes depending on the system, but your X is like your primary guy. He's going away from the tight end. I mean, he's going to be expected to beat man coverage. He's on the out. He's always on the outside. Think about guys like, Devontae Adams and whatnot, like those types of guys. So you got an X, your Z. He's going to the tight end, normally off the ball. Be on the outside. Sometimes you get some movement with them. I've seen this guy play both of those positions. What I'm getting at is Ryan played a lot more inside this year, and slot is, and then you got the slot, which is, almost like where like a tight end ends up lining up, but you're on the inside and you got a lot to work with the slide. And I think that's why Ryan struggled a little bit because, I mean, originally Ryan was playing on the outside. When you talk about moving a guy on the inside, I mean, you go from, having a lot of room to work with to now you're in the middle of the field. Everything's congested. I mean, it's a whole different game. I mean, I don't know if it's a great comparison, but I would probably say it's similar to a guy playing inside backer and a guy playing outside backer. Just because it's a linebacker, I mean, doesn't mean anything. I mean, they're completely different. That said, this guy, I mean, body type, definitely more of an X. Also could play a Z for sure, but he's also lined up at slot. But I would probably say I would kick Ryan back outside. Personally, I would. I like Ryan outside. I just don't know if he felt very comfortable at the slot. Definitely could put him at Z, right? Because there's a lot of movement with Z, and a guy like that with his ability being able to move him around. I mean, put him at the Z would be fine too. And then maybe say this guy plays the X. I mean, it just all depends on personnel and what you're rolling with. But the good news is, I mean, you got some big body guys as well to work with. I feel like you got a lot of different body types in this room, different skill sets, and I think that that could be beneficial. I mean, Derek Meadows, Sadarian Morgan, big body receivers. This guy's 6'2". I want to say his 40 out of high school is like 4'5", so he's got good speed. Not like a burner, but definitely good speed. You got Latsier Brooks. I mean, to me, Lottie's a slot. Just put Lottie in the slot. I think Lottie does fine there. And Rico Scott, you can't forget about Rico. Yeah, that's how I saw it. Or even if you want to put Ryan at X and other dude at Z, but yeah, I think Ryan at Z makes sense. Being able to move him around and do some stuff, yeah. Put Rodgers at X. Lottie for sure in the slot. And then you got the other, right, again, Rico Scott, Sadarian Morgan, Derek Meadows, all guys that can, get reps, come in, move guys around, and so forth. But I'll be honest with you. I mean, nowadays, you see guys line up at a number of spots. And Bama does go to, sometimes you might see us in some 10 personnel looks. If we're in 10 personnel, yeah, I mean, definitely might move some stuff around too. But I thought majority of the time we were in a lot of 11 personnel. We definitely use a lot of tight ends. Not like a lot, meaning on the field at once, but you get what I'm saying. We utilize the tight end a lot. So majority of the time we're 11 personnel. Yeah, I mean, we still need more receivers. So, yeah, we'll definitely still get more depth for sure. That's why I said, we're going to be active. We still got holes to fill. So, that's why I was saying you can't rush to judgment just yet because there's still a lot that's going to, you just look at what Clint posted. You guys probably can't see it well here. That's probably better for you. But, there's a lot of holes. Again, the gray column to the far right, those are all departures. So block that out. Starting from signee, and those are guys that just signed. So if you want to talk about returning players / players that have some college experience, from this middle gray one where it says freshman over, that's all you got. And then you got all the players in the white column under signee coming in, but those are all new young players. Other than one JUCO guy. So, this offense is going to be young, man. It's going to be really young. Bama receivers must improve blocking. German and Lottie were the only consistent contributors in that area. Horton struggled despite his size. Yeah, I agree. They need to be much better. When you watch teams like Indiana, man, like they're solid in those things. It's about those little details. And people will be surprised. You talk about the running game, man. I mean, if you want to have explosives in the running game, I mean, that's a big piece of it. I mean, everybody gets caught up on the offensive line up front and tight ends in the core, but blocking downfield, wide receivers, contributing in the run blocking, man, it's huge. How many more players will we get? I couldn't tell you. I don't know. I just know that you have a number of areas that you still have holes. I mean, I don't think 6 receivers is enough. I don't think I know. I mean, that's not even a true, like, that's barely a 2 deep at wide receiver. I mean, because if you're talking about 10 personnel, I mean, which they don't really do the depth chart like that, but that's literally like at a flat 2 deep at wide receiver. So what do you do when you need guys? Think about it, because the walk-on deal is a lot different now too. So who's your scout team? Now you need depth. Like, who the hell is a scout team? Who's going to go get the defense looks? You need your 2 deep all on the the offensive field. So there's going to be a number of guys. I'll be honest with you, I don't really know exactly the whole walk-on deal now. I mean, I'm sure they still hold tryouts and stuff. I just know it's a lot different now. The scholarship numbers, they can offer a lot more scholarships. So to answer your question, how many more people we add, I don't know a specific number, Louis. Good question. I just don't have the answer. I just know you still need wide receivers. You still need some offensive line depth. I know they definitely want to add another running back with experience. Defensive side of things, I mean, you still need some more depth, and you need a couple guys that are some dudes, especially on the defensive line. At least one, if not 2 more. Maybe one now that they got these 2 guys, but still, I think you easily could add 2, especially with the thin group of bandits that we have. So, but I'm pretty sure Janze should announce that he's returning soon. And welcome back into this Talking Tuesday edition of the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. We now go to the phone lines where we're joined by our friend over with Cover Crimson, Clint Lamb. Clint, man, I'm praying for you. I know you've been working, day in and day out. Hell, I normally just kind of just do the radio and streaming thing, and then I check out a guy or two, but hell, this transfer portal's got me worn out, and I'm probably doing a 10th of the work that you're doing. Clint, how are you holding up, man? I just want to ask you before we dive into it. How are you doing? Are you all right, man?
I'm doing fantastic. It's I didn't realize it. I probably should have, but this is what I guess we're now going to call busy season.
Yeah.
There's obviously a lot going on in the transfer portal with the comings and goings, and for Alabama, it's been kind of an up and down thing. It's been kind of wave after wave as far as emotional roller coaster for fans, but it's been fun for sure.
Yeah. No, it definitely has been a roller coaster, and we got to talk about that roller coaster, which is on the way back up, man. Over the weekend, we were going on a big drop. Well, I guess maybe with the roller coaster, that's probably the opposite. The fun part is the drop. The slow part is not the fun part, but you get the point. It's been quite the ride. So whichever way you want to put it, we're now on the, I guess, a little bit more fun side of things. Yesterday, a big active day for Alabama. Noah Rogers, wide receiver out of NC State. I like him a lot. Great, not just a depth piece, but I think he immediately comes in and competes and adds much needed experience. Then Ty Haywood, player with a lot of upside, but lacks the experience. So development will be key with him. But overall, Clint, because I don't think we've talked since a number of things have happened. Well, actually, we'll start there. We'll start with the good. Tell me about those guys, your thoughts on those 2 players I just mentioned.
Yeah, I definitely think they were much needed, both of them. Noah Rogers, he does bring that experience factor. He spent some time, obviously at Ohio State. He knows what it's supposed to look like as far as playing for a big-time program. Another Power 4 program in NC State, got some playing experience, and just, when you start talking about Ryan Williams and what they expect him to be, and you talk about, Rico Scott and, just Lottie Brooks and all those guys that they have that they are expected to have in the room, a guy like Noah Rogers fits right in. You know, he can play some inside, but mostly I want to say about 85, 86% of his snaps this past season at least, he was an outside receiver. Will play the X, will play the Z. And I think he kind of fits exactly what they were looking for from an experience standpoint to kind of complement. You know, obviously Ryan Williams is a multi-year starter. Lottie Brooks has now got plenty of experience, and Rico has also played as well. So the room is actually, despite the fact that you lost Jeremy Bernard and Isaiah Horton, you still got some experience in that room. And it just gives, you know, whoever ends up being the starting quarterback another option. And then with Ty Haywood, ton of upside. And I think he can play, you know, 4 out of the 5 positions along your offensive line. You know, I do think that he probably comes in and competes with Jackson Lloyd at left tackle. If both of those two guys are performing well, maybe one of them kicks over to right tackle, even though I think Michael Carroll is probably going to stay there. And then you also got some guard flexibility with Ty Haywood where, you know, if he ends up being a guy who's one of your best 5, you can put him at right guard or left guard. And so that's he really didn't add much. Really, he didn't add anything from an experience standpoint, but it's another high upside option along that offensive line. You've just got to make sure that you're getting development, because if you are, then I think you can end up having a pretty good group before it's all said and done.
Yeah, I agree with you. Definitely starting to take shape as a room with a lot of good potential. But like you mentioned, man, the development will be critical here as the oldest guy. And by the way, we're borrowing your chart that you spent a lot of time on. So we're giving you credit that you work on that has like the latest roster breakdowns. I'm using it right now, and I'm referencing here that it appears that the oldest offensive lineman right now would be redshirt sophomore, well, both of them, Will Sanders and Casey Poe. So, I mean, that's the oldest player we have in the room from what I'm seeing. So, to me, I mean, you're almost expecting, not almost, you are expecting growing pains. I think they still could and probably should add at least one experienced offensive lineman via the transfer portal as things still are going. We still have got time. Are you under that same belief? Do you feel like they still have work to do at the offensive line position via the portal?
Absolutely. Yeah. I think right now 12 total offensive linemen. So I think you lost 10 or 11 to the transfer portal or NFL draft or graduation. You've only added in 7 if you include the 2 transfers and the 5 freshmen. So I still think you're at bare minimum a couple away, maybe even 3 away. Guys like Hugh McBroom out of Louisiana Monroe, the offensive tackle, Ryson Delgatti out of Cal Poly. That's one that I really like. I don't know exactly how it will transition from, you know, it being a much smaller competition or lesser competition to all the way to the SEC. But from a skill set standpoint, he's got a lot of what you look for at that center position. He's super athletic, can climb to the second level, plays with a little bit of that nastiness that you look for. And just those are 2 guys that I think if you could add them in and add that experience factor with those 2 players, I do think that would really help your offensive line group. So, yeah, I completely agree with you. I think that while it's a very, very intriguing group, if on paper, when you talk about talent and just the ceiling or upside, I don't know if there's too many in college football right now that have more upside. But, you know, just the inexperience side of it, that could end up being something where, as you said, it could cause some growing pains. So they'll have to continue to kind of put their heads down and go to work.
Yeah, I'm under the same belief, man, and we'll have to see. And I keep telling people, you just got to be patient because this thing is a long process. I mean, each day, Clint. I mean, there's more and more names being added to the portal, and some big ones. I mean, Jordan Seatin hitting the portal yesterday. Who is? I mean, you talk about a sure day one probably draft pick when it's all said and done, and a guy that immediately comes in. I was one of the people that was just being honest with folks that, man, while Alabama has some good resources, we're not necessarily looking to spend what a lot of these other schools spend, like a Texas or an Oregon, where it seems like it's back to back to back. Not saying we couldn't, you know, drop a pretty hefty bag on somebody if we really want it, but you're not going to see it consistently like some of these other schools. With a guy like Jordan Seatin in the portal right now, Clint, I know we just got Ty Haywood, but do you see Alabama potentially trying to make a push for that guy? I'm hearing the numbers already around probably 2.5, 3 million just to start. We're probably talking about the floor here. Do you see that being a reality for Alabama or probably not?
I don't think so. I mean, just based off of how the Cam Coleman situation played out, the fact that they couldn't really get a foot in the door with Ja'Carius Peak or, Jordan Ross. Like, now, granted, they didn't even get to make a pitch to those guys. So especially with Ja'Carius Peak, I don't know what their plan was as far as potential offer. But whatever you were planning to offer Peak, you would definitely need to increase that by probably quite a bit to get Jordan Seatin. And that's just not how Alabama has operated. And so until I see otherwise, I keep hearing them be connected to a lot of these really expensive, really big name guys, but they're not really, outside of a Hollywood Smothers who is not really going to break the bank from a positional standpoint. Like running back's not going to command the same price tag as a quarterback or a left tackle or, a guy of the caliber of a Cam Coleman. So they went after a player like that who's at or near the top of his position, but, they still ended up losing him because of money as it was. So, yeah, I think the way that Alabama's kind of got to approach things now is it's a lot about focusing on development. It's coaching, it's development, it's culture. That's where you're going to win right now at Alabama. And, like as you said, if the right guy comes along, I'm not saying they're not willing to spend, they 100% are, but it's got to make sense for them. It's got to be feasible. When I say they're willing to spend, I'm not talking about $3.5–4 million for one player. For everything that I've heard about Seatin, I think the goal is money. So for players like that, I kind of learned my lesson with Cam Coleman, where while Alabama could be connected with him, and I'm sure there's a lot of pie in the sky and hope that they could get something done, it's just not really and I respect Alabama for being disciplined on that front, because you could go haul off and spend, a huge chunk of money, but it's too much being allotted to one player. I actually like the approach of the coaching staff, and I think it's the smart way to go, because if they ever do end up coming into some more concrete rules that are more enforceable, then I think Alabama will be in a lot better shape as far as how they structure things relative to a lot of these other programs.
Yeah, and the biggest reminder that I always try to throw out there is getting really good players is important, but it's not a tell-all, and it's not a guarantee either. Texas, while they get really good players, it definitely is a huge help. I mean, there's no denying that. If you say otherwise, you're just lying to yourself. But again, it's not a guarantee. And I think you're seeing that a team like Indiana, right? And they spent some money in the portal, but they didn't go get these big splash guys. But what they do have is elite coaching and elite discipline and a really good scheme that these guys buy into. And at the end of the day, that's still going to probably trump a school that's willing to just go write these blank checks, but doesn't necessarily compete with them on that level. So listen, if you're Alabama, I mean, that's why I tell folks, I mean, don't panic that you don't get these guys, but you just have to, your coaching staff is going to have to be that much better. It's just a fact in today's day and age. If you're not going to get those players, you have to be that much better when it comes to coaching development, which I think this staff has shown some signs of at times, but at others, maybe not as much. So that's something that they definitely probably want to do going into next season. We're joined by Clint Lamb of Cover Crimson, who joins us every Tuesday at the top of the hour. Big thanks to him for his time, but also make sure you guys check out all the good work that they do on their side of things, their YouTube platform and social media platforms and all podcast platforms. They do a lot of great work. Clint, I want to ask you, you mentioned Hollywood Smothers, and we haven't talked about that situation. I want to get your thoughts on it, because he comes to Alabama on a visit. He commits here. I believe he even enrolled in class. New sharing type contract. I'll be honest, I don't even know the exact language of it, but it wasn't official because he ended up going on a visit to Texas where he then flipped, committed there, and I'm assuming he's probably actually signed there. What did you make out of that situation? Because in my opinion, I just was completely honest. I felt that we probably slipped up somewhere along the lines, and a lot of people were frustrated. Not a lot. We had a couple people frustrated saying, oh, what do you expect them to physically hold them down? And I'm like, no. But if you got a guy that's that, invested in, signing up for classes and committing and doing all that part, I feel like we probably could have done something to make sure we put pen to paper. That's just me. I could be wrong. And then people try to say that they can't sign on campus. I reached out to agents and other folks that are involved in NIL, and they said they're not aware of that. What did you think of the Hollywood situation? And do you know anything about those rules about signing while on campus or anything like that? Is that something that's actually a real rule, or is that made up?
I mean, what I will say is that a lot of these other schools, they don't seem to have that problem, I guess is my point. So I don't know if that's a thing for Alabama. I don't know if it's that approach, but how in the world did you have enough time to get this guy enrolled in classes, enrolled in your university, and yet you didn't have time to put together what was needed in order to get him locked in? That's the strange part to me. I mean, if you got enough time, I mean, was he on his visit and you went ahead and got him enrolled in classes? Like, So to me, and granted, I understand it from Alabama's coaching staff's perspective. There's probably going to be, they know that this isn't a great look. You probably put trust in him, and it kind of bit you a little bit, and it's kind of left egg on your face, and so you're scrambling trying to, make it seem not as bad. It is bad, no matter which way you slice it, in my opinion, but it's also a lesson learned. And you hate that they had to learn it the hard way, but, I still think that, Hollywood Smothers is a really, really good player, and I was very much in favor of Alabama getting him, and I thought he could have done really well in Tuscaloosa. Do not get me wrong, but I also think that swing and miss could have happened on much bigger, much more critical players, and so you're at least thankful from that side of things. But yeah, I mean, from everything that I know, I just haven't seen or heard about. I mean, a lot of these guys who are committing, or schools continuously recruiting them right after they commit because they know it's going to take some time to get the paperwork back and get them actually signed where they're locked in, or are they backing off? I from everything that I heard, I think his agent was the one that was continuing to work some channels and figure out if he could get both himself and his client a bigger payday, and he found it with Texas. So I guess that's the hustle of the agent, the college football agents right now. But yeah, it's a new world, man, and I think everybody's learning to navigate it as we work our way through this.
Yeah, no, and 100%. And I just, like I said, I just wanted to ask you, because I had a couple people, not many, but like saying that, oh, well, he couldn't. What were they supposed to? I'm like, listen, I'll reach out to every contact and know. And nobody said that. But I was like, I don't know where that rule is coming from. And if anything, they said, yeah, I mean, typically these schools, they're pushing for these guys to sign while they're there. Because listen, I always compare stuff to finances and car stuff. I like that world. I like that space. But it's like, go buy a car dealers always trying to get you to do the deal before you walk out the door. I mean, it's no different. I mean, that's sales, right? They know if you leave the lot, there's a good chance you might not come back. You might find another car. So yeah, no, that makes sense. I just want to get your thoughts on that. And I agree that there's probably other backs too that you can get that, he was explosive, and I think he definitely helps, but there's going to be some other names in here, and you got to see what you can work with and just build off of that. But you're right. If that would happen with like a premier offensive tackle at a position of need that, I mean, like you have to have, probably would have been even more devastating. But you just got to move on with it. And you're right, this new space is definitely different. I think everybody's trying to learn to navigate it. Real quick, Clint, before we let you roll. So in the next few days, the portal will close, but there still will be the ability to get players, right? It's whoever's in there is in there at that point. We talked about a number of guys we already have, a couple guys that you mentioned on the offensive line that are prospects. Just your kind of overall thoughts on how this thing wraps up, kind of how Alabama finishes this thing out. I still think like a Mike linebacker could be big. Are you hearing any names there at the linebacker spot, or talking about the defensive line? I know we got a couple guys, but I still think there's room, especially with the number of bandits that we had leave, and still waiting to hear back from Yanze. Any other big names or any expectations, or I guess the route that you think Alabama goes to finish out this portal season?
Yeah, I don't think they're anywhere close to being done. I mean, obviously, just when you look at the sheer numbers, I mean, I think currently they're sitting at maybe 77 players. And so even getting back to that standard 85, and granted, you can now go above that. And, I think some of these players, like a Jackson Shuttlesworth from Jacksonville State, tight end transfer, that's a preferred walk-on, so he doesn't really count. So, yeah, they got a lot of wiggle room. And I think from a sheer number standpoint along the offensive line, I think along the defensive front, when I look at you can look at the 3-tech or the bandit between one of those two spots, and I guess it depends on where Devin Tompkins plays, but I think you at least need to add not only another player there, but another guy who is a competitive piece. He's going to compete for a starting job, or at bare minimum be a guy who's going to help out your rotation. I look at Wolf. I think from a sheer number standpoint, you only got 2. You have to go get bare minimum 1. Now, I do know that they're trying to see if they can make something happen as far as Jamarian Latham and getting him back from a medical red shirt and getting him an extra season of eligibility. And that would certainly help coming off that neck injury. But I even think even if you still had him, you probably still want to go add somebody. You're just probably not going to add anybody because you've got Yanze and you've got Justin Hill at the top of your depth chart. So that's a spot where I feel like they would be in pretty good shape. But that linebacker for Southern Miss, and I'm having a tough time remembering his name, but he was committed to Ole Miss. He ended up backing off that commitment. Now he's open. That was a player that I was going to go be looking into, because I think that from an experience standpoint, he brought a lot. From a size standpoint, definitely has that D1 build that you look for. And I do think that while I like a lot of the pieces in Alabama's softball linebacker room, I think from a field general experience standpoint, last year, Nikhai Green was kind of the player that they targeted when they weren't sure if they were going to get Deontay Lawson back or Justin Jefferson back. If you could even get a player like that, which, I guess he was one of the top portal linebackers in the transfer portal, so maybe, that's a little pie in the sky. But if you can get somebody with the experience factor to come in and compete with some of the young talent, I think that would do wonders for your off-ball linebacker group. But I think just across the board, you'll continue to see numbers sprinkle in. But offensively, you definitely need another running back, in my opinion. You definitely need more numbers at wide receiver. You still only have 6, even with Noah Rodgers. So across the board, you're still going to be seeing guys trickle in. But it's a matter of trying to decipher, okay, who are the guys that are being brought in more for depth purposes, and who are the guys who are being brought in to compete. And that's something that we're going to try to keep up with and project and all of that stuff as it happens.
Speaking of projecting, we had a quick question real quick from our chat. They asked you to give your projection for the offensive line going into next season, at least where things stand now. Like you mentioned, they're probably going to add at least a couple more bodies at the minimum. But where things stand now, Clint, how do you see that offensive line taking shape? Michael Carroll being the only true returning guy, which he's a right tackle as a returner, but he's played inside, so he could be a guard if you need him to. But then you got Jackson Lloyd, a young guy who, seeing him, man, he's got a lot of potential. I think if he can get up to speed, he could be a player in this whole thing. But then you bring in Ty Haywood as well. Will Sanders being a returner that I think is scrappy, a guy that I think could definitely give you some valuable reps there at guard, probably left guard. Center will be interesting, maybe the guy from Michigan. But in your opinion, Clint, right now as things stands, how does this offensive line take shape?
Yeah, I definitely think the way that things are playing out, Michael Carroll seems like he's going to be locked in at right tackle. I have no issues with that from a continuity standpoint. The fact that you're losing 3 starters, a lot of your guys who are also maybe co-starters, like a Gino Vandermark with a Cam Dewberry at left guard, the fact that you're losing so many offensive linemen, you probably don't also want to be moving Michael Carroll around and having him learn a new position as well. And yes, he did play some guard last year, but as far as in-game experience, a huge chunk or a huge majority of his experience came at right tackle, especially once he became a starter. So I think he's probably going to stick on the right side. I think at left guard is going to be Will Sanders. He's played there. He's got some familiarity there. And so at least while he might not have got any sort of start, roughly around 175, 200 snaps this past season, with some meaningful action, that would be a good place to start for your offensive line. Left tackle, I think, is probably going to start out as a competition between Jackson Lloyd and Ty Haywood. Wouldn't be completely floored if a guy like Bryson Cooley got involved. He's pretty technically sound for a young offensive lineman, but he's also a true freshman. You don't want to assume that. And, like I said earlier, a guy like Ty Haywood, if he ends up, proving that he is ready to be one of your top 5 guys, but Jackson Lloyd is also ready and he feels more like a tackle-only type, then you probably leave Jackson Lloyd at left tackle and you move a guy like Ty Haywood in at guard and let him compete with some of those guys and see if he can't get comfortable being 6'5", 316 pounds like he is now. But Caden Strayhorn at center would be the best bet right now. Mal Waldrop could end up competing with him there. I could also see them adding like that Delgatti out of Cal Poly, bringing him in or a player like him and letting him compete. Kind of the bigger name as far as Caden Strayhorn competing with the more experienced guy. But then at right guard, right now, Mal Waldrop, Ty Haywood, as I said, maybe Caden Strayhorn if one of those other guys ends up being your starting center. Maybe a Chris Booker, depends on how much mass he's able to add. He was a little bit undersized out of high school, but I love the talent. So I just think this offensive line, there's a lot of different ways that it could work out. But, you could end up having some pretty decent, guys and guys that fit the system. And I think that's what makes me the most excited is while this is a very inexperienced green group, I'm looking across the board and I'm seeing a bunch of guys who fit. And so that makes me excited. Like I said, if they can get the proper coaching and development, I think it will be a group that will suffer some growing pains. Don't get me wrong. But I think it could also be a group by the back half of next season could end up coming together as one of the better units in college football.
Yeah, and if you talk about growing pains, it might be frustrating, but I mean, the lack of execution over the whole season this past season wasn't really attributed to growing pains. So I guess we're used to kind of being a little frustrated. So if you got to deal with it for the first 3 or 4 games, but ends up being better than it was, it might just be worth it if we can just bear with it just a few more games going into this next season. Last question, real quick, Clint. While I got you, I just thought about this, and I know a lot of people have been asking me this. Now, I know you don't probably have an answer, but just want to get your impression. A lot of people wondering if there will be any changes to this staff. We're so focused on the personnel right now, but a lot of people wondering, does this staff stay the same as, so far since the conclusion of this past season? There hasn't been any changes there outside of the guys that were hired, a la Jamarcus Shepard, Nick Sheridan. Do you feel like there could be changes coming after the portal closes up, or do you feel like it's kind of a sign they're probably sticking with what they got? Just what's your impression of that situation?
Yeah, obviously you got to go find a tight ends coach, and I think the fact that we haven't heard any sort of movement or buzz on that front, it kind of signals exactly what we've been saying. A lot of people have been upset. Why haven't you made any sort of moves as far as your staff is concerned? I think their focus has been on the transfer portal, and it needs to be based off of how some of this stuff has transpired. They need all hands on deck and everything focused on that, trying to make sure they get the guys that they need on the roster. Once that is closed, I would not be surprised if you did see 1 or 2 moves. We know Jay Nunez is, he has an expiring contract. I don't know if that's going to get renewed or not. Special teams obviously fell short of expectations, but then the other big one that a lot of people have focused on or asked about has been the offensive line. I don't know what's going to happen with Coach Cap. If they elect to keep him, I mean, I will disagree with it. I think it's time for a change, but I just want it to look different. I want it to look better. I want to see improvement. So if Coach Cap can give that to him and they feel like he's the guy, then I'll give him an opportunity. But just nothing up to this point in the last 2 years has really shown me that you're going to get what you need to, especially with this really young unit. And that kind of signals to me the fact that you are relying so heavily last year. It was a group that was experienced. I mean, you had Caden Proctor coming back, you had Parker Brailsford, you had Jaden Roberts who had starting experience, you had Gino Vandermark who had started some games, you had Kim Dewberry with starting experience, same with Wilkin Formby, just across the board, tons of experience. And you still didn't get what you needed to out of those guys and really get the development and have these guys take that next step. So now that you're looking at a young unit, are you going to rely on someone who hasn't really proven that he's a great developer of talent? If they elect to do that, then I'll support it the best that I can. But I do think it's probably time for a change there. So I wouldn't be shocked at all if you ended up seeing one.
Really, really good thoughts from our friend Clint Lamb of Cover Crimson. Clint, we appreciate you always hanging out with us on Tuesdays, man, and everybody knows you and loves you. But before you get out of here, man, please plug your stuff. That way everybody can find all the great work that you guys do.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on, Christian. You can find me at Clint R. Lamb on Twitter, YouTube. Cover Crimson is what you can search. And then if you like listening to the podcast form instead, search on Apple or Spotify, the Cover Crimson Podcast Network, and you'll find us. And we're doing stuff every single day. So, Christian, once again, man, I appreciate you as always, and I look forward to next week.
Yes, sir. Sounds good, man. Hey, rest up a little bit, Clint. I know there's all gas, no breaks, man, but find you some time, man. You're working hard, brother. We appreciate your service.
Absolutely, man. Good talking to you, brother, man. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Always, man. Take care. That was our guy, Clint Lamb, Cover Crimson. Always join us on Tuesday. Big thanks to him, man. Again, he talked about being extensive, man. Clint is going to get after it, man. Hopefully he's taking care of himself, though. I know that man is working, but we appreciate all that he's doing, man. Helps us stay up to date on everything. We got to hit a timeout. We come back. We keep on rolling. We got Smitty on the phone lines, but we also got the Pastor of Pain on here, so don't go anywhere. We're going to keep on rolling right here. Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC.
The scene. Third, call.
Can you hear us?
I'm a turn.
Again.
It did it again?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear it. Can you hear me?
Good. Good again. Probably going to click off.
Yeah, just click off and click back on. This man and that damn. Does Popeye have a pipe, or am I making that up? I was going to say the Popeye pipe, but maybe I'm making that up. I feel like he did. I was too young for it. I just used to see it. All right, let's try it again. Second time should be the charm. There it goes. Can you hear us?
Yeah. Every time when you like that, I don't know what it is.
I don't know, but welcome in, man. We finally got some positive news going on. Let me type my reminder to hit that like button. I don't think I've reminded anybody. Popeye does have a pipe. That's right. You got that pipe like Popeye, man.
Yeah, but he has spinach in his.
Yeah, not spinach in that one. If you guys haven't, man, hit that like button. Always helps out. We appreciate that. Subscribe if you're new, if you enjoy the content, which I'm sure you will. Always got good stuff coming at you. Turn off and turn on again. Yeah, I guess it worked after that. Dust off the old PS2 and get back on College Football 11. They got the new ones, man. You got to check out the new ones. We finally got some good news. We picked up some new guys in the portal, man. We picked up some new guys. Got us an offensive lineman, got us a receiver. We're back on the scoreboard, man.
Yeah. Anybody you know of, or just
one of them, yeah. No, actually, I think everybody knows him because he was once an Alabama commit. He committed to us and he flipped to Michigan. He redshirted there and he came back. Still really young, and I'll be honest with you. I mean, I think he'll compete for the job, but I'd be lying if I said I had the most confidence in terms of getting, the necessary development to have him playing at the ability we need him to at left tackle. But hey, we need bodies regardless. He's former top recruit, so we'll take it for sure. The receiver from North Carolina State. Did y'all play North Carolina State? No. Anyway, good player. Averaged about 400 through the air, reception yards last 2 years. Former 5-star prospect. So I think, he's got some untapped potential. I like him though. I think, to me, that's a good pickup. For trying to get bodies and good quality options. To me, I think that's solid. But I still think we have to find a way to get some sure plug and play type guys that you're going to get some good production out of. You got to have it.
Better get somebody that can develop a system that works and can coach and motivate.
Yeah. I agree. That's why I asked Clint, because to be fair, I forgot to bring this point up. If you think about this, we played in the Rose Bowl on Thursday. Friday, the transfer portal opened up. You're talking about any changes being made. I don't even think you have that ability. Because you need people actively recruiting and hosting these visits. Unless you had something lined up already.
But these coaches, you have it now. It's what, like the NFL, they call it a scouting department.
Right.
You're already scouting.
Talking about the transfer portal guys?
Yeah. That's why they're hiring GMs, because they should have a department that's already way ahead of when the portal opens. No matter.
Save that thought. And welcome back into this Talking Tuesday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Don't forget to subscribe if you guys are just joining us here on YouTube. We always appreciate it. Like the stream, that's all we ask. And we keep rocking and rolling. Big thanks to Clint Lamb of Cover Crimson. Make sure you guys go check out all their stuff that they bring to you. Like Clint said, it's daily. And he works around the clock, man. And he's very, very extensive and detailed when it comes to rosters and breakdowns and diving into players and all that good stuff. So make sure you guys check them out. I know you all know Clint Lamb, but if you don't, make sure you guys checking them out. They do some really good stuff as well. Now we got the Pastor Payne on here. Smitty, I'm going to get you here in a second. I'm going to let my dad share a couple thoughts here. Then we're going to go to the phone lines, let you jump in on the conversation. But I was filling my dad in during the break, man. We had some positive news via the transfer portal. Got much needed help at offensive line. Still young, so you're probably looking at hopefully getting some more experience to that room. The oldest being a redshirt sophomore, so you're talking about some serious growing pains. But the potential's there, and I like the potential. Now, I do have some concerns in terms of Can we develop these young guys to play at their potential? I think that's a very fair question to ask, given what we've seen, not just the last 2 years out of the offense line, but really over the last probably even 4 or 5 years, man. I mean, no offense to your guy that was a former South Carolina guy. What was his name? I like him a lot. Wolford?
Eric Wolford.
Yeah. I mean, hard coach. I mean, you know what I mean? Like he's tough. Wolford, yeah. But I almost feel like, he kind of the same thing, didn't get the most out of the guys. I mean, I feel like it's been probably what? He wasn't bad, but
the most out of the guys, but maybe those guys weren't that good either.
Well, well, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, because that's a part of the equation too. No, but that's why I said Coach Wolford. I mean, he got on guys. He was a pretty good football coach. Matter of fact, I think he's at LSU.
He's a really good football coach. He's a great football coach.
But I also feel like some of those expectations here just didn't necessarily pan out. Some, not all. I mean,
but you got to, at some point, we also have to hold these coaches accountable.
Coaches and players.
I mean, excuse me, coaches and players, but players, I mean, in this conversation, because Coach Wolford, who I know personally, and this ain't not about being because he's a friend, the dude can coach. If he couldn't coach, he would not be getting top-notch jobs like now at LSU. Or Alabama, South Carolina, Kentucky. I mean, he's bounced around the SEC wide because he can't coach. And he has had very good offensive line play, even at lesser programs that do not have star ratings. So if you go to Alabama and it's not good, well, maybe the players that they recruited aren't that good. Number two, maybe the system in which they play in isn't that good. So
that's fair.
I don't blame the coach here on this one. I think it's more the system. I think it's more of the players that they recruited. Now,
are you talking about when you say you're talking about right now, or are you talking about when Wolford?
I'm just saying when Wolford was there in Alabama.
No, but you just said I don't blame the coach. What are you talking about? Are you still talking about Wolford, or are you talking about right now? Tell me your thoughts on now. All right, okay.
Now I blame the coach.
Okay. Okay.
Now,
all right.
I was never a fan on current staff, right? Coach, what's his name? Cap?
Yeah.
Yeah, Cap. And what do y'all say about Cap? Well, it ain't a cap that he's not that good, okay? I know his name is Cap, but you said that's Cap. Well, this is not Cap right here. He's not that good. He's not. We had questions when they hired him from Michigan State. Who have this guy coached? Yeah, there's a name or two, but come on, man. Listen, they got to get better coaching. They got to get better system in place. They got to get better players, and they got to do a better job of identifying talent and whoever's in recruiting, and who stop just going by the star. You might have to get a 3-star, but have a coach. Here's the thing with offensive line players. First of all, you're not going to get a 5-star offensive lineman normally that's ready to play, because that's the one position in football that's going to take time to develop said player, said position, which is offensive line. They're going to have to get stronger. Normally you get an 18-year-old guy. He physically tough enough really to play right now. Because you might be playing against a 22, now 25-year-old defensive lineman, and you're 18. I mean, so you're physically probably going to get dominated. So the offensive line position is the position you got to have a teacher, you got to have a motivator, and you need a system in place so that these guys, one, develop, and two, excel in the system. So here's what Indiana has done and why they're good. You watch Indiana. I watch them. I'm looking at them, and I'm like, man, these are just a bunch of dudes, right? But what happens in football, that's why this is the greatest team sport of all. When you got just a bunch of dudes that is in a good system, that are tough as nails, that will fight and scrap, especially at the offensive line position, you are going to have a good offensive line. And they build cohesiveness as they play together and in the length of time they play together. So what Indiana has done is brought in veteran dudes that are old, they're aged, they've been sitting you put that stuff in the refrigerator, what you call it?
Marinate.
There you go. You marinate that thing. And they've been marinating for some years, maybe at different programs, learning. And then Indiana gets them for a very low budget pay, and they get in this system and they excel. right? They got a kid that now that they gave the MVP to, and he come from Notre Dame or somewhere.
Yeah,
But he
Notre
wasn't no
Dame.
like
Center.
big time dude. But he had played some valuable snaps and learned and grew. Maybe somebody else even developed the guy. But they
Yeah.
got what makes Indiana good is because they're a mature football team. They don't have a bunch of stars running around the football field. Alabama, Oregon, another prime example. They got a bunch of stars, 55, 65, and 4 stars. They running around. Everybody's excited about them. Everybody calling home to mama. We won a recruiting battle. We were number 2. We were number 1. But those dudes don't have no experience. That's why a good coach would tell you, experience will trump talent. And so you get a team like Alabama, you get a team like Oregon in the playoffs, they're good enough to do that. But when they face a team like Indiana, that's got 55 guys that are seasoned veteran, that they know the game, they understand how to play, and they play hard, right? Them dudes play hard. And then on the flip side, yeah, you got dudes with tremendous amount of talent, dudes that are fast, dudes that are explosive, can jump and run, and they pass the measurable test. They got all of that, but what they do not have is experience. The lack of toughness is a problem. And this is why Indiana is going to be the national championship. But if you look at them on the bus or getting off of the bus, and you look at Alabama get off the bus, and you look at Oregon get off the bus, you're going to go, ain't no way these guys should be able to win. If you like on the sideline and watching them do jumping jacks and warm up, and you're looking at the quarterback, Mendoza, who looks like one of the goofiest dudes, like this type of dude that should be on the stage doing a spelling bee, right? You're looking at him, and you be like, he is goofy. Listen to him doing, I want to thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ as my God. And he's sitting, and I like all of that. He's right about that. But you can just tell he's a goofy kind of dude. But something happens, though, when he plays. He's not crazy athletic, but they have a hard time tackling. He knows when to run. He knows when to escape. He knows when to buy time, and his throws are impeccable, right? This is why things got to change. If you're Alabama, you go find seasoned dudes. You go find some dudes, forget the star, what they were, 5-star when they can average. Go find some guys that are hungry, that you don't have to pay a lot of money, that want to be on your platform and stage because they know eyes will be on them, they know scouts will be coming there, that just want to play football. And these dudes that's got 3 Mercedes-Benz and 2 Mercedes-Benz, and they playing with gold and diamond chains on their neck and all this hype, guess what they are? They are crap. Because they are just about the moment. They want the likes, they want the clicks, they want all the stuff on the social, but they don't want to get down and dirty. They don't want to fight. They don't want to scrap. And when things get hard, they bail out. They don't play hard all the time. Just look at what you're looking at, folks. You can talk about the 5 and 4. Yeah, you need some of those guys, that's for sure. Mendoza really didn't have no stars, but he worked his tail off. He learned how to play the position, and look at him now. Probably going to be the first pick of the draft. But I promise you, I can go pick 5 guys at measurables, maybe arm talent, maybe going to run a 4.45 40. I probably can do a 39, 41-inch vertical jump. You're going to have those kind of guys, middle types. But then you got a guy like Mendoza, knows where to go with the football, don't make mistakes, right? He extend plays. He get you that crucial first down, like on third. This is what I'm talking about, Christian. And this is Alabama's problem. They still caught up in the star system. And the star system is really not going to win championships anymore. Like, they had the star system when Nick was there, when you could just recruit guys, and they come to Alabama because they loved it. They came because of the standard. They came because it meant something. And then they got the right coaching, right? They got excellent coaching. They had a strict coach that'll make you throw up on yourself while running in the heat. Before you die. They had that, and Coach Carter, they had all that, and that was cool back then. But now that ain't gonna work. You got to find some dudes that love the game, that has played the game. They play it for the right season, because when you get into the final 12, the final when it's gonna be 16, probably soon or whatever it is, It's the teams like Indiana. And I hope they don't fall into the trap, because when you start winning and everybody's talking about it, then them 5-stars want to try to come to your program. And I don't think the coach is there going like, I don't want you. I'm going to get me a guy that want to play the game and love the game. I'm going to get me a guy that's a locker room guy. I'm going to get me a guy that cares about the man next to him. And Alabama don't have enough dudes there that care about the guy next to him. That's why the guy that flipped you were talking about, that tells you he don't care. You don't want him anyway.
Well, the writing was on the wall. I mean, and not to judge him, I'm just being completely honest.
I'm judging the action of him as an agent.
I'm not saying you. I was going to bring up the point that when he did come on his visit here, the first photo he posted to, show folks that he was here, was showing his watch that was a flooded out,
there you go,
whatever kind of watch. And I think like designer. And again, I'm not judging guys because a majority of these guys have that stuff nowadays. It is what it is. But I'm like, he intentionally is showing the diamonds. I mean, that shows kind of what these guys, their intentions. You know what I mean?
I don't want a young guy like that. But that's why he'll never amount to nothing in Texas.
He'll probably be a decent player. But I get what you're saying.
He has a hard time, or if things get tough, he's going to be back in the portal again.
I wouldn't doubt that. No, but I'll say this. So, and you're spot on with everything you're saying. Everybody clearly agrees. However, my biggest thing is, because you're exactly right, especially when it comes to Alabama. We are lacking some of those qualities, right? And those key fundamentals that you described from the likes of Indiana. However, to me, that is probably the biggest thing outside of, trying to get this personnel and this roster shaped the way we need it to. It's evident, even with good players, though, we lacked with some of those key small details. And I think that showed up, like when you go lose to a team like Vanderbilt, right? Like, I don't think the level of preparation was where it needed to be. People, tried to put everything on the injuries against Georgia in the SEC championship game. I don't know if it was necessarily the injuries, because you saw what happened when those guys came back from injury. To me, that part is where the coaching staff has to be better. They have to. If you want to compete with the likes of teams like, Miami, Oregon, hell, even, whoever you might want to throw out there, you have to fix those key fundamentals. And that comes from all the intangible things that you talked about, which made us really good. And I always tell people it was like the perfect balance of, elite talent, but also elite discipline and level of, attention to detail in terms of just the preparation. We prepared better than anybody in the country. Take the fact that we had the best talent in the country away. Coach Saban had us prepared better than anybody in the country. There's no denying that. So I just feel like there's a lot that needs to be addressed, and hopefully it is, because that's what's going to be.
Now, the one team that mimics Indiana and has more talent,
Miami.
And you know why? Because they got a coach that still demands toughness. They got a staff that demands dogs out there, right? Mario Cristobal, offensive line coach. Look at the offensive line. I mean, them dudes run the ball. They don't care. They don't care if they going to hit you in the mouth. Mario Cristobal and Miami mimics Alabama, old Nick Saban, more than anybody, right? And he's got a quarterback. Indiana? But they don't. I'm just saying Miami does have.
You're talking about the way they run the football.
I'm saying they the one team that has talent on the offensive line, the defensive line, and the trenches. They ain't just hardworking dudes. Them dudes got talent. They got Sunday dudes. They got dudes on the outside. That freshman number 10. They got receivers that are just Tony. Right.
That's how we should be using Ryan Williams. Me and Reggie Ragland talked about this.
They got all the other pieces. I'm saying both these coaches are old school coaches, by the way, that was on Nick Saban's staff. Right? Miami is the team that has a little bit of Alabama. They have the talent, and yet they got the nasty. Alabama have talent based on stars, has zero nasty. They standing around looking at each other and getting busted in the mouth. I'm getting mad talking about it. And then they're going to drive around all these cars and all these. I'm just saying. I'm tired of this stuff. I mean, they got all of that. Yet while Indiana, who got spelling bee, teachers, soon-to-be teachers, psychology teachers, science teachers, they're all doing, dissecting frogs and mice. They got them kind of dudes on the football field. Majority of them are not going to the NFL. They are going to teach class, and that's a good thing. But I just said when it comes down to football, Alabama saw Indiana, who hadn't won and God knows when till last year. You get your tails kicked and embarrassed. Come on, man. Something wrong with that.
I'll disagree on that. I think Indiana ends up having I'll say this. I feel like Indiana ends up looking like Coach DeBoer's last Washington team that ended up having a good number of guys drafted based off the success that they had.
Team.
No. Way different type of team. I'm not saying that. They were way tougher.
The board team even at Washington.
But I'm saying Sarai will be playing on Sundays. Amari, what's his like Cooper, right? I forgot his first name, but Cooper.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they're like top picks. I'm just saying those guys. I promise you, they're probably gonna have a good number of players that do end up playing on Sundays, given the success that they're having. People are going to be intrigued by it. I'm just saying. We got to hit a timeout. We come back. We'll have Smitty on the phone lines. Right here on the Miller's Edge, tied on the
Alabama,
WTBC. Brother, what is that? What lighter are you using, man? You using like a?
It's like a pen.
Flashlight? I'm thinking, is that a flashlight? What the hell are you using?
No, it's just a little. Man, in the cigar world, they got little gimmicky stuff.
I don't know,
man. If you had a little.
Shout out to Reagan and R&R cigars.
Kind of like.
Like you got a police.
If you had a tie, one of them button-down shirt in the pocket, you can stick it down in it. I don't know. It's just the end.
That's pretty big to be in the pocket.
Oh, this is a single flame, and I can get it in my pipe.
Brother, you got a big ass Duracell battery lighting that cigar. I mean, like what happened to old classic little flip canister thing?
Got all that. This is about being useful with my travel around. My pipe is sits down, like I can sit it down. Don't have to have a holder.
Right. No, it makes
and it
sense.
smells good. And it smells good.
No,
it's just a thing. I told a guy at my church, I said, my bad thing, I like to smoke a cigar. That's if you're going to give me a negative, a minus in life, that would be one of them. And I like to go to watch the game and, take my iPad and listen to sermons. And I work on sermons and it keeps me relaxed. So I told him, I said, listen, would you rather for your pastor to do? Oh, you have a pastor that hangs out at the club getting some drink on and chasing skirts. And he said, keep smoking the cigar.
Or neither.
Don't do neither.
No, this is the pastor I think we need. Hold on.
Michael Irvin.
Do you want a revolution? I'm going to have Wanda stand up here. Wanda, please. Wanda told us earlier this month that she could not have a baby anymore. So I impregnated her with the word of God. I'm going to impregnate everyone with the word of God. You gonna get pregnant with the word of God. You gonna get pregnant with the word of God. You gonna get pregnant with the word of God.
This what goes on in your church, huh?
I had somebody in the congregation.
You couldn't fit on that.
That's why I'm wearing Christian Dior and Christian Louboutins. Because I'm a Christian.
But I ain't mad at that.
Lord of Jesus. Give him some praise.
This is a joke, man. This is a joke.
And I walk in the blood of Jesus. Give him some praise.
Hold on. Let me get this spot. Hold on.
Get your hands off my car. You should pray for my wife. Hey, come on, man. Hey, get your hands off my car. You gave cars an offer? No. Back the fuck up, man.
Oh, God. You need to stop all that, boy.
All right, hold on. We got... And welcome back into this Talking Tuesday edition of the Miller's Edge. Todd 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Hey, Smitty, hurry up, man. Get on the phone lines real quick before we get out of here. Smitty, talk to us, man. What you got? Dang, did he drop, Chase?
Yeah, he got much time.
He might have dropped. I don't blame him. I don't blame him. It went a little bit longer.
Get on early tomorrow. I mean,
No. You're good. No, I felt bad. I keep saying the goal is to try to get these phone lines more, but when you got guests coming on, I try to make sure we get a lot of good stuff with our guests. So I apologize on the phone line thing. We got plenty of time. We'll get them on tomorrow. Any other thoughts, real quick? I'm gonna probably stay on the stream a little bit longer. And no, for the folks that just saw the Drewski skit, that's not a real church. He's making a skit. It just was funny.
Dude, that what you was watching that when I was at your house.
Yeah, that's that dude. Man, yeah, the talent guy.
I seen that dude. I think in Alabama one time.
He came to a game. He just
dude,
hilarious.
I mean, that's go to show you if you're a little bit funny and you go get you some veneers and all this stuff and some glasses, and you can get you a job around here somewhere. I mean, you know what I'm saying? That was Shannon Sharp there.
Wait, come on,
I'm gonna get me some veneers, but my teeth will be all white.
Well, Shannon Sharp did a couple other extracurricular things, and
yeah, of course he did.
See where that's going. But was he like that when you knew him? Was he freaky deaky like he is now? Because right now
no, because he one of the ugly dudes, and he started eating them dumbbells for breakfast, and he got his box.
I mean, all that he look like a normal dude to me.
Normal dudes. I mean, you know, let me tell you something.
Grandma told me. Sorry, let me stop. He's doing his thing though. Shout out.
You need to stop that.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Grandma told me, boy.
Yeah, Grandma told
me. You point one finger, you got 3 fingers coming back at you. Point one finger, you got 3 fingers coming back at you. Don't be judging about this one.
Hey, well, here's a great way to end things as we wrap things up on the radio side. I'll hang out on the stream for a second. Shout out to Adam. Again, this segment is presented by our buddy Adam Lamparello. Shout out to Adam. He says, big Giants fan Adam is. Adam says, Christian, great show as always. Corey, I'm a lifelong Giants fan, and I was wondering, since you played during the transition after Bill Parcells, what made it so challenging for Ray Handley to find success as a head coach? You got a couple minutes. You got about 2 minutes, man. What do you think?
Well, I can just tell you, Adam, that when your head coach is in New York City, cross-dressing, that's a problem to be a head coach.
Whoa, huh?
Man, he said Ray Handley. That's I got my shades on. I can't read what's on the screen.
Yeah,
but
no, he said
I
Ray
can tell you,
Handley.
Ray Handley was a running backs coach for Bill Parcells when I got drafted. And then when Bill decided that he was going to step away and retire, they elevated Ray Handley to be the head coach. Now they called him the master.
I get all that, brother. You said something else. So what did you?
No, I'm going there somewhere with this. But the thing was, they said he was called as a cross-dresser. And he lost the team. And we had a good team in 1990. I mean, and he was bald in the top, he had big glasses, you know, and it was but we was dogs, man. You know, me, LT, Pep, you know, Dave, Megan, Rodney, Hamdo. I mean, Phil Sim. I mean, you got these older dudes, man, and then when they hear about you in the city, because we everybody went to the city, went to the China Club, went to the spot, we hung out. And you figure, man, your coach got caught cross-dressing.
Which is to each his own. We're not judging, but go ahead.
I'm not judging that, but yes,
I get what as a football team.
I don't condone that. Let me just say, maybe you don't condone my spike, but I'm just saying that transition was hard because we had a good football team. We ended up going 8-8, I believe, in 1991. Adam, you can check me on that, but I mean, we should have been a playoff team. We should have been a team vying for Super Bowl. With all that talent we had coming back, but he was
playing off all right. I said he was playing off all right. Just not on the
He lasted 1 year and he was fired. So what does that tell you? With an 8-8 years is not horrible, but they fired him because I mean the head coach can't be wearing pumps and a skirt. I mean that wasn't the deal back in 1991.
I mean, maybe could today. Anyway, before we get too far down this rabbit hole, big thanks to Adam. as Adam sponsors the segment pretty much at this point. We just said
I'm praying for
this segment has been brought to you by our buddy Adam Lamparello, man. Everybody go check Adam out with everything he's doing, man. Shout out.
Well, in God's eyes, it was sin, Adam, because his sin was no worse than my sin. We're all chasing skirts and doing bad stuff, even though
except he
was
sin
in God's eyes.
But he was the y'all were chasing skirt. He was the skirt. All right, we got to get out of here, dog. All right, we got to get out of here.
Father,
Big thanks to
forgive
everybody
us. Father, forgive
Chase,
us.
Find the Glass, all our listeners. This is about to get off the rails here.
Hey,
So
Chase.
close out on radio. We will be back tomorrow right here, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. This has
Don't
been
bring
another
that
day.
name up again,
We'll see you
ever.
guys then.
You've been listening to the Miller's Edge, tackling sports daily.
Yeah, Adam, I'm sorry you had to learn that about one of your former coaches, man. Let me stop again. There's no judging over here.
Surprised Adam didn't know that.
None to each his
No,
own.
there is something wrong with that.
Nah, let's stop there because I ain't trying to get canceled, man. But listen,
Well, there is something wrong with that. Wrong with
no. To your point, I could totally imagine a football team losing. I guess the locker room being lost, given that information. I mean, are you serious about that? Like, when you say that though, like, wait, to what?
Imagine you hearing that, and imagine your locker room in NFL football.
Innisfree with some high
You
heels.
heard that about Ron at the Panthers or whomever. So he down in the Queen City on Tavola Boulevard. Your head coach.
Wait, but I'm saying, are you?
Ron? Oh, you mean Rhonda Rabune or whatever his name?
But what if it was a bad rumor though? Right? What if it was a bad rumor?
I don't have my Google it right-handed.
I'm looking it up. I mean, I'm trying to. I don't even know who this guy is. We're looking it up.
He's a running backs coach for the Super Bowl winning Giants.
Yeah, no, I'm
Became
with
the
you
head
there.
coach.
I'm with you there, but I'm just saying. I mean, I've never heard of that.
Put Ray Handy cross just to see what comes up.
I'm kind of scared to search that on my computer, but I guess if I don't have a choice, we'll do it. So this is the culprit here. Man. Well, good thing, Phil, I am management. So unless you're talking about radio, radio, they might look, oh, what do you know? I've heard some other folks talking about some stuff way outside of things. So we should be all right. But
it's not. We're not. I mean, just
no. We're just being funny. Let me look this up though.
There he is.
You do need to go back and watch that. Adam said, "No, I had no idea." Corey, thanks for the truthful response. Now it makes sense why he lost the team. Not judging him, but as a head football coach, not very good choice. Yeah, I mean, I think that's very well said. I mean, let me look this up though.
You say anything?
Ray Hanley controversial. Well, that sounds a little bit better.
Okay, there you go. Controversial.
Wait, hold on. Let's see. Wait, hold on. See, wait. There's a defamation case. I don't know if that was about that.
Probably.
I'm not seeing anything. I'm not like. Let me look. Hold on. I mean, let's look up. Oh man, let's see. Now I'm kind of confused, man.
That was the thing. That was the thing in the locker room. So I don't know if it was. That was the thing in the locker room.
Brother, you're gonna get us. You talk about defamation. They're gonna come at me. I ain't say it. Don't hit my pockets. I ain't say it.
Well, they hit mine. Ain't nothing in it but cotton.
What? I don't see anything about that, man.
Nothing. Okay.
Y'all might have just tried to get that man out of there, coming up with some crazy conspiracy like that.
Maybe.
Or maybe it's not on the internet.
Well, that was the thing. I don't know if there's truth behind it or not. But he was a very nice man. I mean, but the thing was that he was called. I don't know if players started that but that was in the locker room. That's for sure.
Yeah, it might have been on the players.
Well, there was something you read something that says controversial defamation.
Hopefully the defamation don't come our way. I mean, that's a crazy thing to throw out there on public radio. But he's not listening he's not an Alabama fan, so he should be all right.
Well, that was out there.
Brother, I ain't see nothing regarding that.
If that's the case, I mean, I'm saying that'd be the same thing. It's just like the coach at Michigan. To me, is sin, is wrong, is moral.
Oh, Adam, you don't need to apologize. No, I'm being funny. I'm being funny. It ain't sensitive at all. No. My dad's old school, so he cancel culture and all that stuff. I mean, ain't even a thing to him.
Cancel what?
That's what I'm saying. Cancel culture. I'm just saying nowadays, man, you just have to be sometimes you gotta be careful, kind of, weaving in and out of some stuff.
I stand on Bible. I'll just say that. Whatever the Bible, I stand on it. The gospel, the truth.
No, I believe they said that. I'm just saying, it just maybe
That's
there
what
was
I
no
stand on.
article on it. Maybe there was no article. I just figured that if he was out doing that, probably somebody would.
I mean, I don't know, but I'm just saying he asked me that's what I'm saying. That was in the locker room.
So as players, that's what y'all thought. Y'all legit thought. You're being serious. So y'all legit thought.
No, I'm being 100 serious because I mean it was bad even to the point Carl Banks, even at the end of the year when LT tore his Achilles, and I ended up starting the end of the year those last few games in his position, and I came out the daggum halftime getting retaped, and Carl Banks had Coach Hanley 2-gap jacked up against the wall because he was saying how horrible. Because we were listening and watching, I think, and LT had a boot on and a torn Achilles, had to get him off of him. So when the player jacks the head coach up, that tells you how bad the locker room was. That's true.
LT jacked him up.
No, Carl Banks jacked up the coach Ray Hanley, and LT had to get him off of him. That's a true story. I know that would be fat. Now, I don't know at the whole cross-dress and all that in New York City, but that was out there.
That was going right. No, that's fair. I mean, to be fair, just like I can sit here and tell you about a whole bunch of crap that was discussed in our locker room that you ain't just gonna go Google it. So yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it didn't happen. I just was trying to see if it did come up. But you're right.
Breaking news out of Pittsburgh: Mike Tomlin stepping down as head coach.
Big thanks again, Adam. And look, you just got some personal locker room stories, brother. So hopefully that was cool, man. Wait, you just hold on. Wait, don't disappear on that. Mike Thomas stepping down?
Yeah.
Dang, that's crazy.
For Adam Sheffy, as they call him. Shefty.
Wow.
No, I was going to try to Google, but I'll wait.
No, you're good. You can. I was going to ask you, I mean, do you think that was a mutual decision?
It's time to go. I mean, the man, what?
Because I don't think they would ever fire. I don't think they would fire him.
No, I mean, he had never had a losing
season.
But he had won a playoff game in the last 6 to 7 tries. I mean, so sometimes it's kind of like Jim Harbaugh. These are two AFC North coaches that have been absolutely wonderful. They're great coaches. And the thing is, they don't want to be unemployed. They won't be unemployed for long because, I mean, I hope the Giants I would love to see one of them in New York. Because they win. They win. Jim Harbaugh, John Harbaugh and Mike Tomlin. So, yeah, let me see what it said. Let me just.
Yeah, go ahead and look. I was going to say real quick, some somewhat not breaking news now. You guys reminded me in the chat. I forgot to hit it, but Ty Simpson, I think, officially signed his papers to declare for the draft. So he said, to hell with that $6.5 million offer to go down to South Beach, follow in the shoes of a guy like Carson Beck. And
now somebody better call Ty Simpson and tell him to see if he can white out his name.
Look, he posted on his Instagram, been a great ride. He posted that on his story, man. So I mean, I guess that doesn't mean he couldn't do something else, I guess. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. I would not fault him at all if he took a $6.5 million offer and took one last season to go play elsewhere. I mean, I don't think any Bama fan would be mad. I mean, look, he gave us his time. He competed. He did some good things last season as a starter. And if that was the case, I mean, in this new day and age, I don't think anybody would look at him sideways. But I respect it. I mean, but I do respect
$6.5 million to go play in Miami in the sun.
South Beach. Mm-hmm.
In the beach. On the beach.
Good football team, too.
$6.5 million stats.
Good offensive line.
And you seeing what Carson Beck just did.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Go get a seasoned guy like Ty Simpson in the right system with a good offensive line. And he's shown, look at his numbers, if he can be protected. Alabama just couldn't protect him. He's a Heisman-type quarterback in the right system. My point is, I don't think he's going to be nothing but a second, third round draft pick.
You don't think
I
he's
would
but look at the quarterback.
ain't a first round pick.
You got Mendoza, you got Dante Moore. Then after that, I'll pull it back up. I had it earlier. I mean, look at this. Tell me who do you think? And think about it. There's
He'll
teams
be a
that
third
need
or fourth
quarterback.
quarterback taken, third or fourth probably.
Right. And so if your quarterback
He
comes on the
could sneak
board,
in the first round, I guess.
he will, just based off this quarterback class, because it's just a lot of potential, right? Cade Klubnik, Carson Beck, John Mateer, Garrett
Cade
Nussmeier,
Klubnik
guys.
is not a good quarterback.
Well, hear me out. I'm saying all guys that had a lot of hype going into the year, and now I would say all their draft stocks have declined since prior to this last college football season. Ty Simpson to me is in a good spot. I think one of the biggest knocks for him, the biggest knocks for Ty Simpson will be
$6.5 million, a 1-year deal.
No, I trust you.
It's not even
I'm
a full year. Go work on your game down in Miami. Go get your quarterback coach. Go get a chance to win a Heisman and win a chip. And then next year's not going to be that much better.
Well,
as far as quarterbacks,
Marcel Reed, Arch Manning, Julian Sand, just to name a few off the top of my head. Yeah, Arch Manning probably going to get a lot of attention. Look, he came along at the end of the year. He started looking the part. Shout out to Adam again. Here we go. We got another segment sponsored by Adam Lamparello again. I have to do that because Adam.
Why don't you let Adam become the sponsor of the YouTube page?
I told Adam I want to get into contact with him. That way, I mean, I can do whatever we can to advertise or do something, man. Like I want to make sure we're earning all his generous. Seriously, but no, trust me, Adam, send me an email if you don't mind. If you are interested in doing that, just go our website.com. Sorry, my screen is refreshed. And then there's like that contact info section. Shoot me an email, man. Seriously, as much as you help, man. I really want to make sure we get you signed up for something. Seriously, I'd love to, if there's anything. Adam says, Corey, I was in high school in the early 90s and remember how divided fans were during the Sims. Is that Hostler? Is that how you pronounce that?
Jeff Hostetler.
Hostetler, okay. Hostetler quarterback situation. From inside the locker room, how did the team handle that? Did you guys genuinely support both quarterbacks, or was there a preference? Thanks.
Well, the reality is a lot of guys began to like Jeff Hostetler, who played at West Virginia, and he won a Super Bowl when Phil Simms was hurt. He was a backup to Phil Simms. He stepped in and he won a Super Bowl. But yeah, I think when you have both quarterbacks. Here was my three quarterbacks. Phil Simms was the starter. Jeff Hostetler the backup. Matt Cavanaugh was a third string guy who played a lot of football, ended up being a coach in the National Football League. So Jeff was a great football player. And the thing that Jeff had that Phil did not have, Adam, was escapability, and he could run. He was an athletic quarterback in that same category with Randall Cunningham. Tall, long, could run. And so, but, both those guys have earned their stripes and been around, the locker room. I don't know. I think probably I would say most guys probably preferred Phil Simms based on how we were built, because we weren't a passing team, we were a running team. And, it was 2 yards, 3 yards in a cloud of dust, throw it on third down, keep it short and medium, that type of thing. Use the tight end, Mark Navarro, then we had Howard Cross, who played at Alabama, by the way, was my roommate. So, yeah, I wouldn't say a majority of the locker room prefer one over the other, but I would say Phil Simms had probably captured the hearts of most people in that locker room just because he'd been around and he was that seasoned guy he played at Morehead State somewhere in Kentucky. But both were great quarterbacks. And that's the thing that you had back when I played, Adam. You had good backups. Even third string guys could play. I mean, guys could, and if you drafted a guy, you had two quarterbacks, you drafted a guy in the first round, he had to sit 2 or 3 years before he even touched the field because, your starter had 2 or 3 good years left in him. And then now you kind of, put that third string guy, that new draft guy in the oven, you were able to develop and prepare him. And that's just not, that stuff don't happen now. If you draft a guy in the first round, everybody's, he's got to start. He's got to play right now. And that's why you don't see the production, because those guys are not ready to play at a high level. But, yeah, we had
Ty needs that.
Huh?
I think Ty needs that. I think he needs to be. I
think all these young quarterbacks need that. If they had a chance to sit back and chart plays and watch the game, take good reps in practice against good defenses, running the practice squad team. There's something to be said about waiting. There's something to be said about getting in the oven. We're such a microwave society when it comes to football now because they did great things in college does not mean it automatically transition to the pros right away.
True.
Sometimes just waiting, developing, learning the game will slow down for you. It's just a natural thing for a college guy to come to the pros, and the game is just too fast. And they can't keep up with the game and the speed from even an intellectual and a mindset standpoint. The game is just too fast for them, and that's why you see a lot of the mistakes. I mean, you look at Shedeur Sanders, he ain't ready to play. Yeah, he's a good talent. He's going to be a good player. But the game still is too fast because those defensive guys, those corners, they run the routes for receivers. In college, them dig routes, or the in routes, or the out routes that you normally can complete. In college, you can't complete those in the pros because they trick you. They make you think they're doing this and then they end up doing that and then they pick the ball off. That type of thing. You always see those out routes get picked by rookie quarterbacks. Why? Because those corners are smart. They're ahead. They run the routes for the receivers, and these young quarterbacks, don't understand that. So it's a lot, man. We could have a show just on that because it's why when people are talking about these guys and transitioning and they're not ready to play. I mean, the only way they could have any type of success is they got a terrific offensive line that can protect them. They got a system that's not too complicated. That's not going to ask them to win games, but ask them to manage games. If it's anything other than that, they're not going to be successful, especially in the early part of their careers.
You think Ty Simpson should have, not money aside, in terms of his development, what would be best for his career, and everything that comes with that? I think it's clear what your answer is going to be, but you clearly think Ty Simpson probably should have come back to school to develop. I'm imagining.
Yeah, that's what I think. But I don't know if it would have been in Alabama. I think he should go develop somewhere that can develop him. And put him in a system that can protect him, where the ball is coming out. Ty Simpson is great if he has time, right? He got bad the part of the season. The offensive line began to fail. The system began to fail.
No running game was probably
no running game to help out.
Biggest issue,
right? He had happy feet. You could saw him. He was nervous. His eyes were big. He was deer in the headlights. That's not him. But when he had time to dissect, cut that frog open and look inside and see what's happening over here and over there. Oh, I'm going to go right here. When he had that kind of time, Ty Simpson is a phenomenal quarterback. That's why you can look at his percentage of completions and versus when he felt pressure. It was total opposite. So he's got athletic ability. He can run. The system in Alabama didn't hold up for him. And that's why they struggled down the stretch. And that's because of the lack of consistent play at the offensive line position.
I think, that, which clearly, falls in line with the running game, which I also feel like there just wasn't enough commitment to the running game. That's also part of the problem. I mean, this as good as anybody. Not every run is supposed to break free. I think some people kind of have this misconception that every run play should be an explosive run, but really the way that it works is, it's almost like a compound effect. The more attempts that you have, man, the more chance you have of breaking one, and plus it puts more stress on the defense and they get more worn down. I mean, to me, that's what Miami does a good job of. They just consistently go to their running game to wear down that defense, and it opens everything else up. And it's not even so much, just for example, like Miami's game plan offensively, they'll take their shots for sure, but it's a lot of running the football, tunnel screen, getting the ball in their playmakers' hands. And that defense, they have to respect it. It keeps them honest, and just with the system that we've seen so far in the last 2 years under Coach DeBoer, I know they had a 1,000-yard rusher at Washington, but I really need to go back and watch them a little bit more extensively. I went and watched, and I saw they run the ball. It was similar type philosophy, a lot of pin and pull stuff, a lot of movement with the offensive line. But I don't know. It just seemed like we just got away from the running game so fast without even really getting it going. And I understand on the coaching side of it that our execution was really poor. So you don't exactly want to, stay consistent with something that isn't clearly working either. So, I mean, I get both ends of it, but we all know this, I mean, to be true. If you don't have a running game, the defense, they don't have to respect that. And they can sit back and they can prepare themselves on the back end, up front, pass rush, start pinning their ears back. And it's tough. It's tough. And now everything's out of sync. I mean, that literally was what it boiled down to. We were escaping with our passing game in the first half of the season. We were getting by and not having that running game. We weren't balanced. And I kept saying it's only a matter of time till it catches up. So you got to keep working on that, even though the passing game is kind of, relieving some of those issues that are clearly glaring. And then it finally did. So I don't know, but shout out to Ty, man. Like you said, I think he's a great player. Seriously, I think he is probably quarterback 3. Find himself in. Let me see what's the projected draft order, or what will be the draft order, at least as of now. I just want to see what teams have the draft order and what teams have are in need of a quarterback. So right now it looks like Vegas, New York, which both of those teams need a quarterback. You got Cleveland. Yeah, I mean, without a doubt. I mean, Ty's going to end up falling in that first round for sure. I don't know exactly where, but I'd imagine if he's even quarterback 4, I'd probably have him being taken at some point, even if it's a little bit later. I think his dad and his camp, they all said that he's got all first-round grades according to everybody that they've spoken with, so. Sharpshooters, what's up, guys? Yeah, man, we'll have to do something, man. Shout out to the Sharpshooters podcast, man. They do a good job. You guys like Alabama content. Make sure you guys check them out. Pass rush is a must. It's a must. The announcement with Yonze is going to be, that's huge, which I'm almost positive. I could be wrong, but I'm almost positive that he's probably going to be making an announcement to come back soon. Don't quote me on that. But last time I kind of checked with that kind of deal, seemed like it was trending that he was coming back to school. So I do feel good about that. But still, even with him coming back, I really feel like you could benefit from trying to go get somebody else. You're just thin at that position, that wolf room, man. And that was one of our biggest flaws of our defense this past year, man. We didn't have that pass rush that we would like to have. Started coming along later in the year, but you definitely need to find some guys. You need to find some guys. Unless he falls tremendously from projections. Ty's getting more money than any NIL payment. Well, we pulled that up earlier, so real quick, I'll bring it back up on the screen. These were the signing bonuses from last year. So let's say he does fall in the range of, I think he could be as high as around the 7 to 10 range, depending on quarterback needs. And who knows, could even drop down to even like the, say, late first round. But even then, you're right. He would make more money as a late first round pick than that 6.5. I just was saying, hell, it's almost like doubling up. You come back to school, you take that $6.5 million, you increase your draft stock, or let's just say solidify it, because I know a lot of teams would like to see him get a little bit more experience, right? Kind of double up. So it's almost like you getting a big signing bonus, playing one more year of college football. Then, all goes well. You end up being a first-round draft pick the following year, and you get another big payday. So it really depends on how you look at it. Or you could look at it and say, oh, well, he could take that 6.5, risk it, end up dropping to more like a third-round pick, where the signing bonus is probably a little bit more in that $2 to maybe $3 million range, depending on what part of the third round. It's really more about like 1 point something to about $3 million range. So, but I guess you add that 6.5 that he made. So you add those together, that's kind of like he still got drafted in the late first round. I'll be honest with you. If you really run the numbers, going back to school probably ain't a bad idea if he really had a true $6.5 million offer. Quarterback class is deeper next year. That's exactly what we were talking about earlier. I said that would be my biggest pride. If I'm weighing all the pros and cons, that would be one of the cons, is that the next year's quarterback class, I think, is a little bit deeper than this one. This one, I feel like, outside of Mendoza and Dante Moore, you just got a bunch of popular names that had higher expectations but didn't necessarily perform to that level this past season. And definitely left a lot of, I guess, uncertainty with where those guys stand, right? So I agree with you. We just had this pulled up. I mean, Garrett Nussmeier, John Mateer, Carson Beck, Cade Klubnik, all guys that were talked about in the high regard in terms of their draft status going into the year, but all of them definitely declined. Who could replace Coach Cap? I don't know. A lot of people throw around the name Sam Pittman, former Arkansas coach. If you're just talking about a name of a guy that's, a proven good football coach, offensive line background, but I don't know. Personally, I don't know. I'd be curious to see, and that's something you have to consider before you're quick to, jump in and fire people. I mean, you got to have a plan, which they clearly would, but it's easy to say, "Oh, let's get rid of this guy," but then you got to make sure whoever you're bringing in is actually going to be a better option. It's true he could increase it, but he knows he could just as easily decrease it even more if he has injury issues. Yeah, for sure. But like I said, I mean, the $6.5 million is almost like that's literally like him being like a high second round draft pick signing bonus. So like I said, even if he dropped to being like a third round pick, I mean, that kind of like compensates for that. So I don't think it would, even if he came back to school, I don't think it's like the worst decision at all. I think it's actually a decent decision, but again, I don't blame him just going to the league now and just looking at where he probably falls in terms of the pecking order of quarterbacks being taken. I think Ty's in a win-win situation, if we're being honest. I think that's what it boils down to. If you have big offers like that, that's a win, man. That's a blessing, because I'm telling you right now, he was making nothing close to that here. Not even close. I mean, as a starting quarterback at the University of Alabama, and that's what I was saying, it kind of falls in line of what I've been talking about in terms of the way our NIL works is a little bit different than some of these other programs. So the moral of the story is, if you see guys like signing with Alabama, especially their high-rated guys, there's a good chance that they wanted to come here. It wasn't that we were the highest bidder. But the reality of it is, we need to show a better product on the field, because that's part of the thing, that mystique, right? The Alabama brand, like that's one of the things that helps attract guys to come here and allows them to be willing to maybe take a little bit less money to come play at the University of Alabama. So I think it's, critical. That's why I talked about it a couple of years ago, man. It's vital that you uphold that Alabama standard, because that's one of your biggest advantages when it comes to recruiting. It's not going to be how much we're paying. It's going to be just that. It's the brand, and then that perception of, hey, going to Alabama, prepares me better than anywhere else to make it to the next level. That already took a hit when Coach Saban retired, and now that people have seen like a 2-year sample with the current staff, I would say we haven't done enough to prove that we're necessarily light years ahead of other people in terms of developing. That's just the honest truth. And there's been some positive cases, right? I mean, again, you look at Latzia Brooks, you look at Michael Carroll, you look at Dejon Lee, you look at Simmons on the defensive line. I mean, there's a number of young players that have, in fact, gotten opportunities, have impressed, and they look to be on pace to being some good football players. But there's also been some signs of, maybe you could call it a reason to have some concerns that another school is at least going to be just as, I guess, prepared to develop you, if not maybe even a little bit better, depending on the position we're talking about. I think that's just being honest, and I think it's on the staff to just make sure they're able to continue that. And maybe, listen, I think maybe part of this, what we're seeing right now, is they're trying to get their guys in here. And we're being completely transparent. The guys that Coach DeBoer did bring in, I would say, probably outperformed some of the guys that were already here. I mean, you look at Cuevas, the tight end. He's a Washington guy. Jeremy Bernard, Parker Brailsford. Their recruits like Latzia Brooks, they brought him. They brought Michael Carroll. They brought Simmons. So maybe they're just leaning into that. They feel a little bit more confident in their personnel.
Yeah, well, that's.
I mean, think about it.
That's a good sign or bad sign.
No, I think it tells two stories. I think it tells one story to basically the point that we've made over the last couple of years that before Coach Saban retired, the truth was he wasn't recruiting the same level of players. A lot of them might have still had high star rankings or whatever the term is, but they weren't the same quality player. You've been preaching that on the show.
No, I mean, I agree. I mean, the coach has to figure out and find out who his guys are. Anytime you have turnover and change, a coach comes to a program and they have been running different systems. I mean, you know that some of the players may not fit what they want to do. I mean, if you're offensive system and you're running, you're a zone read offense and you got a statue of a quarterback that can't run, obviously that's not going to work, even though he could have been good in a different system where he is reading defenses and that type of thing. And, check with me at the line of scrimmage and you got that kind of a quarterback, Peyton Manning type. And then you come in with this, spread read option type of football. Well, that ain't going to go hand in hand. So, and then with that, you're going to have different kind of linemen because if you got check with me offense quarterback, you got to have that type of offensive line that can hold up in protection because he's going to be reading 1 to 5, with the football versus a guy that's, everything is kind of just reading the defensive end. And, if he crashes, you pull it and, quarterback keep it. And if the alley player comes down through, then you pitch it. And so, that's a totally different type of player. So, your players should fit your scheme. And so if you inherit a team that doesn't fit what you like to do, then obviously you have to, give that some grace there and give that coach time to go out and find his guys. But again, you're Alabama. You're not Vanderbilt. You're not South Carolina. You expected to play at a certain level. And because you have gotten over the last 10 years the best of the best when it comes to athletic linemen, athletic D linemen, athletic receivers, run up to catch type dudes, and then all of a sudden that's a problem. Running backs, big physical guys that everybody in the country wanted, but then you can't run the football. So where does that blame lie? Is it the coach? Is it the system? Is it the player? Is he overrated? So
I think it's a combination of a number of those. I mean, I'm not going to do too much of this right now. I hadn't gone back and really paid attention. It's been a while since I watched Washington's offense, but I want to see kind of what their running game was because this back was
they had
1,000.
Dylan was 1,000-yard rusher.
Yeah, well, they started off the game, it looks like, with a toss right here. So, I mean, they ran the ball first play of the game, the national championship game, but of course it's a common theme. Again, they do a lot of pin and pull. You see toss. I mean, a lot of perimeter type run. I mean, what does that require? Your linemen have to be able to move. I really felt that our linemen from Coach Saban's era were more fit for more gap scheme, power, counter, duo. You know what I mean? Bigger body guys. Didn't their offensive line, if I'm not mistaken, didn't they win the Joe Moore Award? I think they did win the Joe Moore Award and from this season. But I don't think they were necessarily like highly rated, linemen. Now, their offensive line coach, that is one of the things that's not in the equation right now. He went on to the league where he currently still is. But, I mean, you can see, their linemen were definitely a little bit more on the athletic side of things versus maybe some of these big physical. I mean, they're not small. But they definitely
Brailsford, right? I mean, that's
you have Brailsford, but I'm saying even their tackles, they had more of an athletic profile versus some of the guys that we've seen in recent years. I mean, look at the tackles we've had under Coach Saban in recent years. I mean, you're talking about Latham, who's damn near 350 pounds, Caden Prodder, who's 365. Who was before? I'm trying to think of who were before those two guys. Maybe Anthony.
The Giants that weren't that good.
Oh, Evan Neal, who was 380 pounds. Definitely different profiles, athletic profiles to offensive line. And thanks, Coach Al. Yeah, I mean, these guys were Joe Moore Award winners at Washington. So, Listen, I think you still got to be patient with this staff and let them, I guess, get the guys, get everything they feel is necessary for this system. The problem is, I'm agreeing with what you're saying. I mean, I do feel like going into year 3, though, it's kind of the process needs to be sped up, and maybe that's why we're seeing so much movement right now at the roster.
Well,
Maybe
it's got to be sped up, one, because you have a chance based on what it used to be, right? You have a chance now to speed up because you can go in the portal. You can go find plug-and-play guys. So you're not worried about a freshman having to develop that guy, get weight on him, let him learn and grow. Now you can go say, okay, I need a left tackle. Well, that's why I got to have a department, right? A scouting department that's already looking at potential transfers. Guys that we're going to go after, guys that's going to maybe be available on the market, so to speak, free agents, if you will. They have a chance to do that. So they know this guy's going to be leaving, or this guy's going to draft. So I got to find out this position. I got to find out that position. Well, we're close. We need a receiver. We need a slot. We need a corner. Whatever it is, you name the position. You got to have a department that's already got guys. And that's when you look at the NFL, they got the whole scouting department. They got guys that works, strictly with free agents. They're looking around the league. They got guys that are on ice, that's cut, that's coming in, work. I mean, they got things in place. And that's why this system now with college is starting to mimic that. That's why guys are going to hire Courtney Morgan. They come in. Why he's supposed to be the so-called GM. I don't know if he's the GM. I would call him a kind of a scouting coordinator for transfer portal guys. I mean, that's who you need, guys that understand that. Guys that know that, hey, I'm gonna go find some players that's going to fit what we do. Right attitude, right locker room guy, but most importantly, he's the right fit from a athletic standpoint as far as filling that position. So if you're not good there, I mean, if you go look at South Carolina right now, I mean, they are like the portal darlings. I mean, every time my phone beeps, it's like they got somebody else. I mean, but every year, I mean, like they've gotten 35 guys. The problem with that is, how do you keep a team together? How do you keep locker rooms glued together when you're bringing guys from all other places, all different locker rooms, all different personalities, with a team that you've been recruiting a lot of these guys have been around 3-4 years. Now you got all these other guys. And then here's the thing, you're paying them money. Now these guys, so these guys have been here working. That's doing the winter workouts, the mat drills, going to Fort Jackson and climbing on through buckets and sand mines. And, they've been doing all of this stuff for years. And you bring this guy in, and he come in with a nice ride, a Benzo. He got the wagon. He got, wait a minute now. So you're going to give this dude money? And I'm sitting here making peanuts. So now the problem is, how do you keep the locker room together? Because now the problem teams are having, Alabama had it, South Carolina, I believe, had it, because guys are worried about money. Guys are worried about what they get paid. And guys are worried about, okay, my time getting clipped, my time getting cut. Or, I said I'm coming here, but now you ain't giving me minutes. So now I'm causing problems in the locker rooms. So I think the team that has the most success with this new system will be the team that can keep a locker room together. And that's why you see the two teams in the national championship game.
Did we lose them?
Indiana, and that's Miami. And not that they are the best teams or the best rosters. I would say they're the best teams, but they may not have the best roster. But they have been the best team. Miami didn't even win the weak, watered down Atlantic Cupcake Conference. Duke,
but that's probably also
Duke
due
got
to
the
the fact.
T-shirt.
But
Duke
that's because
has
the way they
hat
do
now,
it.
and I'm
Though.
not talking about basketball. Duke football are the ACC champions. But the team that's
the way.
don't
But that's
have
the
it,
way they do that, though. The way they decide who plays.
it just stinks.
Miami should have. I mean, Duke had what, 4 or 5 losses during the
All
regular
that, but I'm
season?
just saying.
But
What
I
you talking
agree.
about? Or not we, but America was talking about should Miami even be in the playoffs? Should have been Notre Dame.
And you heard
BYU,
smart folks. Coach
Alabama,
Saban,
and Alabama should have been out. Miami should have been out. It should have been Notre Dame and BYU. So here it is. Miami playing for a national championship. Figure that out.
Yeah, I'm just trying to watch some of these run plays. This looks like what, ISO? I mean, I know Parker climbs up to that back, but I think it's because 78 is kind of taking himself out of. But you got the insert by the H back. It looks like ISOs, whatever. Doesn't matter, regardless. So I mean, you're seeing them. They're running the football. It's not much. I mean, we've seen what, like 3 running plays so far. But I can tell you though, the offensive line executes way better here than what
Who's
we've
offensive
seen.
line coach is in the league, right?
Yeah, Scott Huff. He's in the league.
Look at the aggression. I mean, they are attacking people.
You talking about on offense or defense?
Offensive line. Look at them. They fired off the ball. Hat on the hat.
Yeah, just that
Alabama,
pulling guard.
they lay on people. These guys are going to hit people. The difference.
Fives does a nice job spilling that pulling guard.
Yeah,
kind of blows it up. But no, I get what you're saying. Yeah, I don't know. I have to go back and watch a little bit more of that one day. I don't have it in me right now, man. I feel like I've been grinding so much tape. I'm like, I don't even want to touch too much.
So really, they need to find them to listen. Why haven't they called the offensive line coach or the head coach, formerly of Arkansas?
But here's the thing. This is my thing. The season ended on a Thursday. The portal opened up the very next day on Friday. So I mean, to be fair, I mean, what time would they have had to? I mean, you're trying to actively host visits and recruits and do all these things. I mean, what time would you have to say, all right, we're going to fire somebody, bring in a new coach, and then he's supposed to be taken, and he just got here. His ass don't even know where Hotel Capstone probably is. You know what I mean? Or let alone the stadium. Yeah, I feel like it might, I don't know. Look at the last 3 national champions. Portal's only for major needs, not to build a team. Look at the last 3 national champions. I would say that this is my thoughts on it. I mean, it's really about your approach and kind of where you're starting from or what you're looking at in terms of your program, your roster. I mean, example, Indiana, I mean, they had no other choice but to hit the portal, right? I mean, they had to. I mean, look where they started from, like second worst program ever. A team like Miami, you're seeing a lot of development there. I mean, a lot of those guys that like Miami recruited, you do see them go to the portal to get a quarterback. It makes sense. A couple other players here and there, but it's not going to be as extensive as some of these other schools. I think the biggest, to me, what I see is you see teams that are physical. I mean, you look at Michigan. I mean, Ohio State. You look at Indiana and Miami right now. I just feel like sometimes, man, you just got to go back to what works. At the end of the day, football just comes down to blocking and tackling.
I mean, when have you ever heard of Mendoza?
I didn't know who he was before he went to Indiana this year.
His brother's on the squad too, right?
Yeah, I think he also transferred in or something, maybe. But I mean, I don't know what the deal is with him. But
where was Mendoza
at? Cal, I believe. I think he came from Cal, Berkeley, if I'm not mistaken. But I know a lot of the players that they're using right now that they did bring in, a lot of them came from JMU with Signetti, so they're a part of what they're doing over at James Madison. Center came from Notre Dame. But right now, if you look at it, so like they're active in the portal. They're going after a bunch of people because that's their approach.
I wish I could see. I wish I could see what they're paying us.
I mean, I can give you about an idea. I mean, who you what guy?
The NFL will say so many dollars under the cap, or so and so over the cap, or.
Oh, you're saying like how much they paid in NIL?
Like you kind of know what the guys are making.
Let's look it up.
What the offensive line is paid as opposed to Alabama.
Let's see. I want to say I heard somebody say they spent about what we spent in NIL. I don't know how accurate that is, but I feel like I've heard people toss that around. They've spent roughly about what we spent. Probably going to be a little bit different now that you got Mark Cuban hitching onto that wagon, but I mean, that says 2024. I need 2025.
Yes, sir. Right.
I don't know. Do any of you guys have that number? Have y'all seen that? How much Indiana spent? I don't. I'm trying to find it from 2025. This says about 20, but I don't know how accurate this is. That's from 2024. Let me see. Top NIL football. I don't even know where you find these lists. 4 teams have averages of over 200K. Somebody said they think it's around 21. That was around, I think somebody said 20 and a half. So, I mean, I don't know if that's right, but yeah, I don't know. Indiana and Ole Miss get a lot of dudes with experience, but aren't necessarily big-time former 5-star type guys. Experience, man. Production and experience. It'll go a long way in today's game. With NIL, dang, that looks good.
That's
basically on one. No, they're not basically on 1 year deals. So they are. All these deals are 1 year deals. And I think, listen, that would be probably one of the biggest solutions to help out this every year free agency deal. But the problem is, even the schools are advocates for 1 year deals because they don't want to be fully locked in on one guy necessarily.
Well, the guy stinks.
Yeah, because especially when he's young, I mean, it's hard to tell. They don't know who's going to pan out and who's not. So the schools also kind of push for 1 year deals. I've even heard it. I've talked to some coaches. I'm not going to say what school, but they've even mentioned that they even push for what is it called, man? Basically, like even less than 1 year deals. Like I'm talking about, like maybe it was like 9 months, like that way. I forgot what he was explaining, but he was saying so they could kind of get out of things. Certain calendar deal. I don't know. But yeah. Allegedly. So it's just schools also only really want those short-term contracts. At least initially they kind of did, but I feel like the solution to this whole deal would be, in my opinion, if you offer multi-year contracts. Dang, that looks good. What is that?
A place called Kairos.
Huh.
That's falafel. That's vegetarian protein.
Nah, it looks good, man. It looks really good. Yeah, these scholarships, yeah, it's basically like everything's like a 1 year contract.
Vegetarian thing right now.
Looks good, man. Looks good. But no, the calendar, though, that's the other piece of it. The calendar needs to be moved. We should not be doing transfer portal in the middle. Like the college football season is literally taking place right now. That makes no sense. That's probably one of the dumbest things that's still intact right now. Outside of all the other issues that we have, the fact that the calendar includes us aggressively, handling this transfer portal deal while we haven't even crowned a national champion is crazy. And that's one of probably the biggest issues right now. Need longer contracts. I think longer contracts would help 100% because then you wouldn't have free agency every year. I mean, that's the biggest difference right now between the NFL. NFL can't just say, "Oh man, I'm not really liking how things are going in Green Bay right now. I'm just going to, become a free agent, right? Hit the waiver wire and hope somebody picks me up." It doesn't work like that. It just doesn't. So I agree. I think extending contracts and actually holding everyone accountable, both the player and said school, is a big deal. And then also adjusting the calendar. I think those are too simple. I call it simple, but I just feel like I think it's simple because, I don't know. It sounds simple. It's probably a lot more difficult, clearly. But personally, I think if you change those two things, it makes a drastic difference with some of the chaos that we're experiencing. You like Dan Lanning's suggestion of playoffs starting in December, going every weekend, and then national championship January 1st. Only thing I'll say is, that's a lot of back-to-back football, but, it's part of it. The NFL is pretty – there's not a big layoff like that. I do agree that the layoffs are way too long.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Layoffs are way too long in college football. I don't know if even if you just drop it down to like a week, because if you watch the Miami Ole Miss game, you can see guys are having tweaks, getting banged up. That's a lot of football. It's a lot of football, but I do think speeding it up is probably a better option. But you just got to take into consideration they're also anticipating extending things, right? If you're talking about adding 4 more teams and this becoming a 16-team deal, there's potential for even more games to be played. That's a lot of football to be played, man. Let alone doing it back to back to back. Guys need some time to kind of heal up and rest up. In the NFL, at least you're a little bit older, maybe. I just feel like these younger players, it's a little bit to ask, but I guess when you're getting paid all that money, it's a different story. Portal had to start before enrollment, right? Well, I don't know with deadlines and stuff with enrollment. I know school started back up, like a week ago? That's, I guess, also something you got to take into consideration too, right? Like the academic calendar and enrolling in classes, stuff like that. Like I said, I don't. If I had all the answers, hell, I would try to do more, but I just get paid to offer my opinion on here. I don't have all. I don't think anybody has all the answers. But there clearly is an issue when the playoffs are currently going on and free agency's running wild. That's a problem. That's a problem. Yeah, I'll be honest. I talked to a number of guys that coach college, and a lot of them, man, they're turned off by everything that's going on right now. Like, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
He'll
turned
tell you
off by these
thing.
chickpeas.
They're good for you, man. They're actually really good, really healthy brain food. Chickpeas are.
Gonna
Really
make you
good.
smarter.
Can elevate your mood. They help, I guess, encourage the
Combine
production of serotonin. Excuse me. No, that's true. Chickpeas. Yeah. They're a really good source of tryptophan, if I'm not mistaken, which is a precursor to
I
serotonin.
feel like Kalen the Boar eating fish tacos.
Hey, but listen, the fish taco fellas that came with them, man, they were some of our best players. So we listen. You got to give respect where it's due. They outplayed the Collard Green boys. They did.
Outplay Indiana.
Okay, but hear me out. I mean, Ryan Williams,
They not play Georgia.
He's collard greens, mac and cheese. He's from Mobile, right? Or Mobile area. Jeremy Bernard. I think he might be from Vegas, but still, that's out that way. That's definitely, carne asada, fish tacos type deal. They played some good ball.
I like fish tacos, only if they're fried.
I'll probably stick to I like authentic tacos, like authentic Mexican tacos, like street tacos. Our new folks haven't heard me get to speaking Spanish on here, so let me stop before I get ahead of myself, start running folks out of here.
Well, this new church building, if I get it, is right in the heart of a Spanish neighborhood. So you get your pastor license, you come and preach.
In Spanish? I don't know about all that. Tal vez algún día me voy a hacer un pastor de una iglesia, pero actualmente no tengo planes para hacer nada así.
No.
What was your favorite Bama team you played on? I would probably say
16.
That's tough. No, that's when we lost the last second to Clemson. I would say that was probably the most talented team, or one of them. I would say 2015, 2017, we won both those years. But I would say 2015, that group was just like, man, that was just a fun year. And I only played a bunch of special teams, and then I got some late work right when we were blowing people out. But to me, that year was just so special. I don't know. It's just like the camaraderie that group had. I mean, Derrick Henry was our running back that year, and just watching him just be a workhorse, man. We earlier on in the year, we kind of fought some adversity. We had the quarterback battle issues, Cooper Bateman, then they went with Jake Coker. He won the team over. We had a loss.
Oh, Jake did.
Yeah. We had a loss against Ole Miss at home. That was back-to-back losses for us because in 2014 we lost on the road there. Kind of had that come to Jesus moment. We all just came together, but we just had a bunch of, like Reggie, who we had on the show. You guys heard me. Me and Reggie are close, man. He's older than me, but like that just showed like how that team connected. You know what I mean? And I'm close to all those guys to this day. I mean, Jake, Reggie, Ryan Anderson, Denzel Duvall, a lot of older guys that just like the way we bonded. I don't know, man. It's hard to explain, but 2015 was a special year for sure. And we didn't have the most talented team compared to some of these other Bama teams, to be fair. I mean, yeah, we had a Heisman Trophy winner in Derrick. I think our offensive line might have won the Joe Moore Award, but if you really look at the weapons we had at receiver and you compare some of those guys to some of the other talent we had a few years later, I mean, that year was Calvin Ridley, Ardarius Stewart, Rob Foster, Richard Mullaney, transferred in from Oregon State. But it's a good group, man. And when we weren't playing, like me and some of the guys used to sneak out. We used to go hunting together. Not sneak out, but I'm saying like during bowl prep. We'd have some time off. We'd finish up practice, and then we might go sneak in a deer stand, or we might ride out to some land and go shoot guns all together. We're golfing a lot. Like that 2015 year, man. I mean, like we were a real tight knit group, and I mean that was really why we had a lot of success, let alone a lot of good talent. But 2017 was special because that was 2nd and 26. I tore my biceps, so I missed a lot of time. But the end of that year and like everything that came from that year. So like we had so many injuries to start the year. A lot of guys had to step up. We got healthy towards the back end. We lost in the Iron Bowl to Auburn, and we were hoping. I mean, all we had was a prayer to get a spot in the 4-team college football playoffs. They put us in at 4. We got revenge on Clemson the first round. Next round, we go play Georgia. And then it's like that storybook ending, right? You guys know how it went. 2nd and 26. So it's that was
talking about Loa.
Yeah. I mean, that was just crazy in itself. I mean, true freshman comes in there, makes a true freshman mistake, takes a terrible sack in overtime?
Yeah.
And it's 2nd and 26, and I'm not gonna lie to you. And before that, shout out to my guy Pap, right, our kicker. But he was a little inconsistent that year, and we had an opportunity to kick a field goal and take the lead. And unfortunately, man, like we kind of were like, all right. A lot of us kind of were getting our helmets ready. We just weren't the most confident with that kick, and sure enough, we ended up going back out there. Shout out again. I love my guy, man. But yeah, we kind of.
He was just a little inconsistent, which he's so nice instead of saying.
No, he's great dude. Great dude.
Well, he's a terrible kicker.
No, I wouldn't say all that. I mean, it's a little, but you got to remember. I mean, we went through a period of kickers that were. I mean, my guy Adam Griffith, right? A little inconsistent. I mean, we went on a stretch of some inconsistency.
Y'all went on a stretch of having terrible kickers for a while.
Fair. Oh, we got a bunch of listeners down in Mobile, man. Shout out to all you guys, man. I like Mobile. Jamie, my roommate, man, he's from he went to Theodore.
That's where the real Mardi Gras started.
That's right. Trust me, I learned that when I went down there. They make sure of that. 2016 defense was putting points on the board. That's why I said 2016 might have been the most talented team I played on. Because, I mean, we set records for, like, defensive points, special teams. We had Eddie Jackson at punt returner. And it's just crazy. You think about, like,
Eddie's still in the league.
I think he just probably is finishing up. He's not crazy. He's doing a podcast. I need to get him on the show. But yeah, Eddie was cribbing stuff. 15
podcast,
we had Irish.
A lot of these guys' career.
It had nothing to do with that. No, it's not.
Podcast.
Listen. Media is people are always searching for good content, right? I mean, listen, I didn't want to do radio, so to speak. If people just approached me and asked me to do it, they said, "Oh, you used to do great with your team interviews. We think you'd be good with radio." And I'm like, I guess I'll try it. And I don't know. I mean, it's nice connecting with the people. I enjoy sharing stories, filling people in on my experience. It's cool. 15 top 3 Bama teams. I mean, don't get me wrong. 15 definitely had a lot of talent. But I'm just saying, if you compare 2015 to 2016, even though we won the Joe Moore Award in 15, I would argue 2016 had more talent. I mean, it's really hard to compare. I mean, because 2017 had a whole bunch of talent. Hell, even my senior year in 2018. I mean, if you look at our defensive line, it was
that was an embarrassment.
Yeah, no, it was embarrassing. And listen, I had to sit there and watch.
Y'all should be shaming yourself.
First of all, listen.
Y'all should have won 4 straight national championships easy.
1,000%. That's not even a debate. That's not even
Losing
a debate.
to Clemson
Twice
was just made them think that they had a dynasty.
I know. It's bad. Hey, but shout out to Brandon Clear, man. He's a former Clemson wide receiver. He's jumping back on here Thursday. He does a great job. He's from Birmingham, I believe. But about the only Clemson guy I'll probably, let come on this show. I'm kidding. But no, I listen, we should have won 4 straight championships. I mean, there's no denying that. The one in Tampa, Bo broke his leg. Running game took a hit that second half. I think that was a little bit later in the third quarter when that happened, but still had a number of 3 and outs offensively. Defense, we played a whole bunch of snaps. Not necessarily me. I only rotated in a little bit that game. We didn't rotate a whole bunch, man. We had Tim and Ryan, and rightfully so. I mean, those are the best 2. But yeah, defense ended up getting gassed. And you got to give credit where it's due, though. I can respect Deshaun Watson. I'm not talking about any of this other stuff that's come up in recent years, but I'm saying, like, that dude took hit.
I definitely can respect the man that can rob a football team for $236 million. Don't play. Man, love for Deshaun.
Yeah, absolutely. No, he was cool, man. I got to know him when we were getting recruited out of high school. But listen, but he took shot after he took Ruben's best shot, and that dude just kept getting up. I mean, Ruben put him in a spin cycle. He just gets up and he's just laser accurate, man. He wouldn't go down.
That's when he was tough.
I mean, he still is tough. He's had a tough break. He's been hurt, man. I mean, listen, what do you have? What, 2 Achilles?
You got money. You start getting on Instagram with all the models and all this.
Bro, he's got a girlfriend.
Wear clothes and dressing.
He's got a girlfriend, man. He's got a girlfriend.
I'm telling you, they lose the love for the game. They get caught up in all the minutia.
But he was hurt, though. I mean, what's he supposed to do when he's hurt?
Yeah, I know, but the thing is, these guys, the mindset changes because they start getting all this. Listen, when you broke or when you got to really work to get something, your attitude changes versus when you got, it's kind of like the trust fund baby. People always say the trust fund babies, they handed money and they don't have the same work ethic. They don't have the same because they got what they got.
Right.
Versus the dude that ain't got nothing. They would bust your grill open back in the day. They trying to get to the lead. Baby need Pampers and diapers and, Similac. like, bro, you know what I mean? They got to make their daggone payment to all them kids they got. You know what I mean? It's like they will bust your teeth open.
That's fair. That's fair. I'm not
then
arguing.
You get 230 about talking about you start buying all these expensive clothes that are totally ugly. Because they got a little bit LV on them or a G on
brother,
them.
when you got 230 mil in the bank, brother, I mean, at some point you probably do just start buying stuff for the hell of it. I mean, 230 M's. Now, granted, he probably saw about 140, 130. You know, I mean, I'm saying after taxes.
He started getting caught up more
maybe
about the
130
videos and all this other stuff than the game. That's all I'm saying. That's what's happening in college football right now. Trying to tell these folks, they putting all these different questions and comments and all they want to. If a kid in the classroom knowing that when he leave class, he can start his car with his phone and car come and pick him up.
Well, no, that's why I try to put into perspective because I think sometimes people just hear these big lump sums, which sometimes is accurate, sometimes it's not. But regardless, I think when you break it down, it kind of sounds even more crazy because let's say a guy signs a 360 deal, not a Drewski 360 deal where we're talking about you're getting, screwed over. I'm saying a $360K deal. If you're talking about a month by month basis, I mean, that's $30,000 direct deposited in your account monthly. When you say $360,000, it sounds like a lot of money, and it is a lot of money. But I think when you break it down like that and put into people's perspective that, hey, that means every month while that guy is signed to this school, he gets $30,000 dropped into his bank account. So no matter if he goes out there and gives up 2 touchdowns and 8 receptions for 150, that $30,000 is going to drop in that Wells Fargo or Chase bank account.
It's 1099, so it ain't even a W-2.
No, but right, so they're getting that whole $30,000 now. Now Uncle Sam is going to expect his $12,000 per month type deal at the end of the year when April comes, right? Uncle Sam's expecting about almost half of that. Not quite, but you get my point. Now, then these agents, I think people forget this. In college, a lot of the times these agents can get away charging 20% because this is wrapped up in what? NIL, which is supposed to be what? Marketing. In reality, a lot of these are actual contracts. And in the NFL, agents are only entitled to up to 3%. You don't see, I mean, it's not like a rule, but you'll never see above 3%. These college athletes, I don't even know if they really have that true understanding that these agents that get 10, 20%, they are hitting a lick, man. That's the name of the game, though. Now, it probably has changed a little bit. I'm sure people have tried to be competitive and do cheaper rates, but yeah, man, it's crazy. But AJ said on the Dynasty once, guys that get money or sign that big contract, they take a deep breath, realize they made it, and you never see that same guy again. Same things happening with NIL.
AJ. Man, that's what it is. I mean, it's unfortunate, but it's just what it is. Yeah. I ain't hating on them, but at the same time, things always been said. You start getting paid, then there's expectation that's going to really rise. And so you get 360,000, you said that's 30,000 a month. Come on, bro.
Let me ask you a question real quick about this. Can you see when I have that screen? Like, is the screen big enough when I have it shared?
I have to go sideways, but let me see.
I want to put this tape on the screen real quick of this one guy, and I'm just curious what you see out of this. Because I'm not gonna lie to you, and I'm not trying to pick on the dude. I'm just genuinely curious because this is one of the guys we signed, and he's 6'5", 290, but he almost tricked me into thinking. I mean, he has to be basically a bandit, like a 5 technique in our system. But after talking to some folks, I mean, I think the expectation is he's still probably going to play on the interior. And if you guys were in here with us, what was it, like last week? I mean, you guys have seen this tape, but I want to get his opinion on this real quick. Is it back?
Not Southern Cal, Iowa?
Yeah, which I'm pretty sure Iowa won the Joe Moore Award this year. But we brought this guy in here. I want you to see. I just don't know where I don't know. To me, this just don't really fit what they're trying to get here, but I could be wrong. Hold on, let me find it. Where is he at? He's this him.
Guard?
No,
Right
sorry.
guard?
No, I'm sorry. The defensive tackle. Defensive
Okay,
tackle.
gotcha. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, he's in like a 2 right here.
I see.
That's just, I mean, hold on, we'll keep going.
Stop.
Where are we at? Is that him in the 6? I don't even know if that's still him. Hold on. There's a couple clips I want you to see specifically. I think that is him in a 6, but no, I want you to see him in this 3 technique. I just personally, this him right here. Oh, here's one of the clips. Here he is again in the 3 technique. I'll just be honest with you. I don't see him being comfortable playing inside. I don't see it. Like look from the wide. I mean, he's getting. It's him downfield.
I can't judge him off a few plays.
No, I know, but I'm just saying. I'm saying, like, do you? The common theme is, to me, I just don't think he's comfortable playing inside. But I think that's what they brought him here to play. I think. I don't know, man. Tell me this: have you ever seen this defensive front? Absolutely no nose or real tap. I mean, you literally got what, a 4-eye? Looks like we got a 4-eye, nobody, a 4-eye, and a 9 technique. Have you ever seen that? I've never seen that in my life. I mean, that's crazy. Just get right on our backers. I mean, we'll put nobody in front to help our backers stay a little bit clean. Just have at it. I've never seen anything like that. There's more clips though, but anyway, he's like, and this is to my whole point. He's like the number 3.
I'll pull him up later on. What's his name?
Devin Tompkins, I believe. Now, the Oregon game was a little bit better, and the other game I watched, I think Michigan is definitely better. I really think if he's not playing in a 5, like which would be like our bandit spot, I just don't know, man. You're talking about stopping the run. I just don't think that's his forte. Iowa has some big physical dudes on their O-line that's dedicated to running the ball. They would do that to many of our better D-line too. I mean, if that's one way to look at it, but I'm just saying, like, I just feel like our plan right now should be, I mean, we're talking about we need pass rush, but we also need to effectively stop the run, right? I just feel like, I don't know. That to me, that's just, I just don't know if he fits kind of, I don't know, but maybe he fits what they want to do. Maybe in terms of getting more athleticism at a 3 technique and having guys that can penetrate, maybe that's what they're looking at. I'm assuming that's what that is.
Okay.
That weird defense going against that elite O-line makes it hard much to say about. Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, I think he'll be much better in our system maybe, but like I said, I'm not trying to pick on him. I just wanted to This game, I'll be honest, was probably a really bad game for him because, I mean, there was consistent clips like that. Oregon was a lot better. Definitely was a lot better. I'm just trying to, like, wrap my head around, like, let me pull that clip up or that thing from Clint, right? Because this is what you're working with defensively. You got Bingley Jones, who we signed from Mississippi State, who I think is like a 6th or 7th year guy, if I read that right. You got Edric Hill. You got a bunch of young guys. I like London Simmons a lot. I think he's more fit to be a 3 technique. I just feel like we need a nose. Like, I feel like we need a true nose. The only true nose, if you look at this, I mean, Beeman.
Tim Keenan coming back?
Nah, he's gone. And he was so helpful in terms of eating blocks up. I mean, he could 2-gap, help keep backers clean. Like, I see Beeman. I know London Simmons played some nose this year, but I feel like he was forced to do that. I think he's more of a 3. Outside of that, I mean, literally, like, Edric Hill, he's not like he's more of a 3 technique. That's why I'm looking at, Tompkins, in my opinion, more of an athletic 3 technique. But I don't think he's athletic enough to really hold up as a true bandit, like a 5 technique, but I think he would hold up better in terms of how he plays. The Bingley Jones guy is a little bit more, natural interior D lineman, but after watching him, I kind of feel like he's definitely a good depth piece. I just feel like if you're talking about restoring like that defense, especially like the defensive line, it's like a certain type of dude you have to have. I don't feel like we have that. I think London Simmons kind of plays along that line, but he's young. Body type don't look like a classic 3 tech. No, that's what I'm saying. It's interesting because he's like 6'5", 290. To me, he feels like a tweener. He's too big to be a real edge guy. And then he's got he has the size of playing a 3 tech, but he doesn't look comfortable doing it. But from my understanding, I think his pops is like close with Courtney Morgan. So I think that one was kind of like a big relationship thing. I mean, I think that one was already in the world. I mean, that was almost like a guarantee that it was going to happen. Are they potentially throwing shots in the dark because they're missing out on some of the better talent? Like I said, with him, from my understanding, there was like a really strong connection and relationship there. So I think that one was going to happen regardless. I don't think that was so much on like necessarily beating other folks out per se. I mean, I'm sure they still had to, but from my understanding, there's a really close relationship there. And listen, I like the Bingley Jones guy, man. I love his excitement and enthusiasm to come here. So I don't want to sound like some of these people are just like, oh man, he's X in the portal, whatever. This is where he's rated. I don't care about that. But just watching him, we watched this tape yesterday. I mean, just being completely transparent. He's a good SEC body with experience, but in terms of like finding these, high caliber defensive linemen, man, like I feel like you have to find that. You have to. And I don't think we have that right now.
I'm going to ask you this. Is the edge guys at Miami, are they transfers or what, those recruits that's been in the program?
Number 3, always Mezzo, whatever. He's a transfer, if I'm not mistaken. And Bain, I feel like Bain was there, but I could be wrong. I feel like Bain was there, but let me double check. Yeah, Bain has been there. But Mezzanone, or how do you say his last name? I keep Mezzador. He transferred from, golly, that boy has been in college football for a minute. He's been in college football since COVID, man. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is 6th year of football. I don't even know how that works.
I'm telling you, a lot of these guys are so old, they're almost like playing against the NFL team.
That's a fair point. Al, that's a good. So Steve and Bob, I don't know how to pronounce his last name. I just call him Big Steve. But physical traits you like to see from a 3-tech, light on experience, unproven. I'll tell you this, Al. Very raw, very raw. He's strong as Knox. I mean, when you see him, I mean, he passes every piece of the eye test. But like you said, inexperienced and unproven, and he's got a long ways to go. Just being completely honest, he's got a long ways to go. I'm not saying he can't get there, but he's got a long ways to go. But he's definitely intriguing. If you could definitely develop him, man. I just think he's a little bit far out. Just like it took Keon Keeley a long time to get there to a point where he could contribute. I mean, you're looking at that probably plus more with Steve as of now. I mean, but who knows? I mean, maybe he has some miracle offseason and he picks it up. But how do I feel about Kedrick Jones? Just like I was saying, I watched 2 games of his, I believe, and really nice to get a guy with experience, typical size. You know what I mean, for a defensive tackle in the SEC, but. With all due respect, I mean, he doesn't flash. Like, he doesn't really jump off the tape. I mean, you can put him in there. He can do what you need him to do, but it's more of, kind of just another SEC body with experience. You know what I mean? Like, that's just my honest take on him. And I'm not mad at that because we need guys. We need experience. We need depth. But if you're looking for, like, James Smith replacement, hoping you're going to, get solid production, I don't think he's that player, which is okay. We just need to probably find somebody else that also can be that type of player. Which I think Simmons is going to step up big this year. I do. Yeah, Indiana does have a older team on average for sure. That's true, but still, you can't deny the coaching and the discipline, the scheme. I mean, all those things are top tier. But it helps having older players. I mean, you have a much better chance of having success, right? Implementing those things with older players that know what to do. They've been in college football. They know what's expected. So that, I think it does have, some type of impact, but I feel like that takes away from some of the elite things that the coaching staff is doing. Just got a commit from Caleb Smith from Washington, originally from Birmingham, Bandit type, 6'3", 270. That just happened? Let's see. Hold on, I'm trying to scroll around and see it. What was the dude's name again? Let me go back and look. Caleb Smith. We'll look at this dude real quick. Did he play last year? Or is he like a redshirt guy? Well, we can watch his high school highlights. Excuse me. Yeah, at that size, though, he's 100% a bandit, which we need more depth there. It's him coming out of high school, I think.
I have to get rid of that.
No, you're good. I'm about to wrap it up here in a second. I'm about to get some lunch.
Good Kairos Mediterranean restaurant. All vegetables and brown rice with quinoa with zucchini and pickles and onions. Pretty good.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, definitely some much needed depth. I don't like that's just his high school tape. I don't want to jump to conclusions, but I mean, even just lack of experience, him being young, even just kind of what I'm seeing on here. I mean, I wouldn't expect him to come in and
Well,
have
here's the
some.
thing, and I'll say something to get off. Caleb DeBoer better be spot on, point on, every decision he makes this offseason, whether it be transfer portal, recruiting, coaches, because next year is going to be a massive year for him. It can't be. That sounds crazy because any other coach at any other school with his record, 1-9 last year, okay, didn't finish well, loses to Michigan in the bowl game. You get to the SEC championship game, you get trounced, get to the playoffs, incredible comeback from behind winning against Oklahoma, and then you get trounced in the second round, but you win 11 games. For most programs, people are probably pretty happy and saying the program is trending in the right direction. But unfortunately, you're at Alabama and you fall in the GOAT, Nick Saban, where expectations are going to be different. And so I just think this is going to be a big year for him. I think this is going to be a massive year for him. I think every decision he makes is going to be crucial because I don't think he can survive. And 11 wins is good, but then you look at the losses, though, and it's just about how he lost. The embarrassment there, the blowout, the physicality, the lack of energy in the games, and how his teams reacted and responded. That's the problem. 11 wins is great, but it's just when they lost, they were horrible. I mean, so people start to question, like, what's his locker room like? What's his leadership is like? So I think this is going to be a massive year for Kalen DeBoer and his decision-making with coaches, transfer portal, what this locker room is looking like. And I think there's going to have to be some decisions if it's a 9-10 type win season, if it's a couple of bad losses in there, then Greg Burns, the athletics director, going to have to look at this thing and go like, well, is he really the guy for Alabama? And they're going to have to go to boosters and say, all right, his buyouts about $68 million. So, that's what it looks like.
I think what you said about just like the manner of the losses. I mean, that's just the biggest thing. I mean, and I know for a fact that and people behind the scenes, I mean, that have they pull a lot of weight. I mean, that didn't necessarily sit well with people. I mean, that's just a fact, But it's like it's all about how you really. Perspective's a huge thing because when you look at it from one end, it is clear. I mean, there's definitely obvious progress. Making the playoffs a big deal. That's about all you can ask for in today's day and age. And making it to the SEC championship games that's a big deal in this conference. We know that.
Like you said, but for Alabama, I mean, they are accustomed to that. So
right, no, it's just like Coach Saban
just
said.
Make it.
No, 100%. But that's where it leads me to my next point. There needs to be another step taken, and that's where you're coming in saying that's why this year is so big. I think people get confused when they hear people, speak like that. But it's just in this day and age in college football, you're right, especially with the standard that is in place here. You're expected to be making those things on a consistent basis. So, that's, I mean, it is what it is. That's just part of being in Alabama, which they know, which
he knows the deal.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, 100%.
He knows the expectation. I mean, before taking that job, you got to know that, hey, man, kudos to him for saying, you know what, I'm not afraid to take the job.
Right.
To be honest with you.
I even know for a fact. I mean, I'm not trying to say too much, but I'm just going to be straight up. I mean, behind the scenes, no, they're 100% is a little bit more pressure right now in terms of making sure everything is, done the way it needs to be done. That's just a fact, which is expected. Like you said, because again, like you said, it's not losing is one thing, but it's the manner in which it's done.
Yeah, I mean, getting embarrassed. I mean, on that stage against Indiana.
If that
and
game was a
losing
close
like that.
game, if that game was a close game, the conversation in this offseason regarding the
Yeah.
staff and this program is entirely
Totally
different.
different. Right.
That game alone, even if the Georgia game was a Georgia game, you still could at least kind of hung on to the, we were banged up, had a lot of guys out. The Indiana game, right now, the best thing going for us is the fact that they blew out Oregon as well.
Yeah, but still.
No, I know, but no, I'm just saying that's literally if you're trying to search for something, that is something you could kind of pull right now. But no, I'm just saying, like, from what I know,
You're looking for a tea leaf, I guess so, but like nobody compared to Oregon to Alabama.
No.
So, you know what I mean? It's just different and just what it is. And I mean, heck, you're getting paid $100 million not to get blown out and embarrassed. So he can't be mad at the criticism or, the judging or questioning of. You can't be mad at that.
I think
you're getting a lot of money to be better than that.
I think he understands it. When he was talking with Mark Ingram and he was giving him a hard time initially about the whole, there's a little bit of the criticism there from the SEC championship game, and rightfully so. He even said it. Like, he said, no, when you go out there and you play bad like that, that comes with the territory. Like, he understands that, especially from a guy that's a former player. Like, whether people realize it or not, like when you have former players, whoever it is, right? I mean, if it comes off as harsh, I mean, it's more than likely it's not because they're probably hating. It's more so because they care, like,
right.
I obviously choose to have a certain delivery that tries to always maintain, respect and try to, keep the school's best interest at, firsthand, even while maintaining my honesty, because that's my credibility. Some people might not necessarily, line up with that, and that's fine. It's to each his own. But look, the reality is, I mean, we care a lot about this. I know I do. And I'll be honest, as a former player, I mean, I know fans get frustrated seeing a product like that. Imagine a former player that you put in blood, sweat, and tears, and this is like this is like a prized possession type deal, man. I mean, they don't feel great. So you gotta think of it from that, man. Some guys, it's frustrating. I mean, all the guys I've talked to have said the same thing. Any former player I've talked to, like, they don't want to see that happen. Like, it's an insult. It's an insult.
Well, it's hard, man.
Everybody
It's hard for fans. Definitely hard for former players. I mean, because you expect the standard. You expect guys to play how y'all were trained and coached to play, with an attitude, to be the toughest on the football field, to be the team that make other teams quit. Right. And then you don't see guys respecting that.
Exactly.
Right? You have a problem when you see young guys. And listen, I'm not saying you, but you as in former players out there, rolling around in a pickup truck and, a Maxima, dudes riding 6'6", 320 pounds. They got to drive an Altima. Better fit in it. And then you see these guys rolling in whips like Benzos and Beamers, and then they going out there getting drugged. You peed-o. You peed-o'd on that thing. I mean, that's a natural response. I mean, and it's just what it is. I mean, so I get it. I mean, I'm just a fan. I mean, but I'm like that with South Carolina. When I went down and I watched the Clemson game, I stopped watching it. I turned the TV off. I'm not gonna waste my time. I'd rather go mow the grass.
Man, you ain't mowing no damn grass. Yeah,
I'm just saying.
Remember last time you mowed the grass?
I'll pay somebody to cut it for me. But I'm just saying, I watch them while I smoke a cigar. But
Jesus. I'm like, this dude don't even cut no damn grass. That's the biggest cap I ever heard. I'd rather mow the grass.
I'll be out there. Listen, I'm not watching trash. I'm not watching lackadaisical, this methodical bad football. Not doing it. I don't care who it is. I ain't watching it. You know what I mean? I turn it off. It's just my team, like South Carolina. Man, please not. Why am I going to waste? I can find so much more to do with my time than watch bad football.
Well, y'all as much as y'all
I know it's different. I'm just saying. I'm just
No.
saying.
I was going to say, as much as y'all just paid an NIL, I mean, I'm hoping y'all have a better year.
Well,
South
this
Carolina, I'm
is
referring.
Shane Beamer is on the same thing I'm talking about. I love him to death. He works his tail off. I mean, coaches hard. He's passionate about those young men. But the reality is, when you get paid this kind of money to win, not to go 4-8, not to lose to your cross-state rival when they're bad at home. You know what I mean? And then, so now people are going, okay. You know, you go and say to the new AD, hey, I need players. I need money. I got to get an OC that can draw it up in the sand, that pull out the number 2 pencil. I need that guy, and we need to pay him $2 million. And so they say, okay, we're going to give you the luxuries that you need to bring in the people that you need to win, to excel at a high level. So you go do that. That's where you go find the players, go pay them, give them the cheese. You go give them the cheese. Now, when it kicks off in September and the results are the same as last year, when you've gotten the money, you've gotten the coaches, you've gotten the OC, you've gotten the receivers, you've gotten them. Listen, they just lost their 8th offensive lineman. They lost
Who are you
them.
referring to?
South Carolina.
Well, I mean, that might be for good riddance. I hate, no offense to those guys. I'm saying, but they
these are the
struggled
guys that
mightily, man.
Yeah, but these are the guys that they were shouting from the ceiling about, from the rooftops, about 4 and 5 stars. Alabama wanted them. Georgia, they beat Alabama. They beat Georgia. They beat LSU. They beat Clemson. They beat all these top-ranked schools over these players, but then they're boo-boo. So is it the player or is it the coach? They fired the offensive line coach, so they had to do. They brought Sean Elliott in. He's been around, and that didn't work. And so now you get everything you say you need, and then if you're getting the same results, then you know what's coming. Then what's going to be determined is, much as you're a great person, I know this is your dream job, you wanted to be here, but it just isn't working. So what do? You go find the next guy. And that's why Shane Beamer, you got all these players, I mean, Oklahoma, Penn State coaches, TCU, OC, you got, all these, you got all the big stuff now. Right. Big time. You can't even go out there and win 7 games and think people are going to be happy.
Well, I mean, they're still finding ways to pull money from y'all's boosters because y'all just re-signed those key players. But you're right. That is a big piece that people have to understand. Like, when you are going and asking these people for money, I mean, that's why it's important to not have games like, the SEC championship game or the Indiana game, because the people that do cut those checks and those people that are behind the scenes, man, I mean, that kind of sways.
My friend Joe Rice is the biggest booster they got right there. He ain't gonna keep giving no money for 4 and 8.
He said he's not.
Like the box and all that's good. But man, these people want to win. These people want success.
Well, hell, if I was paying millions and millions of dollars out of my pocket, I mean, I probably feel a certain way too.
I mean,
just being honest.
Something's got to be different.
Just being honest. Hey, I can't thank you guys enough for all the support you guys have been showing.
I
was going to say, I'll be completely honest with you, man. We've gotten so much attention here on the show. I got an Outkick interview scheduled for tomorrow. They've asked me to come on.
Don't go on there and say they're asking to me.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that. You know me, but actually probably will slip up. I talk too fast sometimes, but anyway, that set up. I mean, so many people have been seeing our show as of recently. A lot of the folks over at On3 have been following us and engaging with us on social media, where who knows where that might lead us. So just want to say thank you guys for all the support, man. All the new listeners, all of our original listeners, man, you guys have been outstanding. So we appreciate it. I just want to throw that in there, but I am probably about to grab me some lunch. But I will say this, I'll keep you guys updated if anything else comes up. I know we got that new commit. We watched his high school tape real quick. Like I said, I mean, just from what I've seen, I wouldn't expect him to be anything more than probably a good depth piece that you need. We're really thin right now. We don't have anybody but Jordan Bernard and Cavante Henry, maybe a freshman that's coming in. So I think right now a number of these guys that we've seen are probably more depth pieces. So don't flip out just yet. Just be patient, see kind of what comes of it. I know people are wanting these big splashes or some guys that feel a little bit more like, instant impact guys could be coming. We'll have to wait and see. They might end up relying on some of the young guys we have. I mean, you just gotta wait and see kind of how it all plays out. So we'll keep you guys updated on everything. But again, thank you guys so much for all the support, hanging out with us every day and making this whole thing possible. Like I said, man, we're growing quick. Things are really starting to kind of, I guess, come to fruition. So yeah, a lot of that is credit to you guys. So thank you guys so much. With that said, I'm gonna get out of here, give me some food, and we'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place, 11 a.m. Central Time, and we'll catch you guys then. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, and of course, right here on the stream on your way out. If you haven't, man, just hit that like button. Make sure you guys subscribe to stay up to date, and we'll see you guys